Gentlemen, today I've got the three of you here for a big discussion. It's a big one for 2026. There have been 3 high-profile bannings in the Discord in recent time. One being a gentleman called Huz. Huz was banned, but Psychological was the man who drew the attention to Huz. Why do I mention Psychological? He was the second high-profile Discord ban. Third and finally, in the more recent time during the major, an individual known as Asalem was banned by Yanko. Now, I believe for goading Yanko while Falcons were losing. I wanted to bring these 3 names to the council today to discuss if we would be happy to unban one of the 3 names brought into question here today.
No.
No.
Screw them all.
Just a flat out no.
Come on, let me hear, let's get louder. Welcome to Talk Encounter. I can really tell that you've spent some time on the Australian beaches during this break. You've come back with a certain glow to you.
Almost all of my time.
I have something to say on that, but before anything, really, you wanted to make this somehow more white, this podcast?
Yeah, it's tough to do. But
When to start 2026? Holy shit.
Off with a bang.
Happy New Year, everybody. Happy holidays.
All right.
It's been quite the hiatus. I just woke up from a nap. I was just saying I was pretty jet lagged. I'm still recovering because I haven't even been back in Europe for a week yet. I left Australia on Wednesday last week. The flight's at like 10 p.m. or something. So I still got the whole day in Oz that day. So I haven't even been back for a week yet. I've already done this whole award show where I did a conference. Yanko was there. He was doing one as well. Then the next day I'm doing the panel. Doing the panel on the live show, you never get to watch the whole live show. I have to go back before intermission and the end of the thing, and I go in late, and I don't get any mingling, and then at the party by the time I get there I'm fucking cooked, and there's 1,000 people, and you know most of them, and you're like, well, I don't have time to talk to everybody, so I have to keep my head down and act like I'm not here, otherwise I'm going to be in conversations for 17 hours, and then you just get out, Jason. You just leave.
Yeah,
I just left.
They really milk you for all you're worth there, didn't they?
I had to do a podcast on the Sunday.
And then you do a podcast on the Sunday. Now you're doing a podcast on Tuesday. And then you got a podcast on Wednesday.
But not only did I have to do the podcast on Sunday,
Welcome back,
Jason,
Chad.
I originally had
Hope
a
enjoyed
flight
your time
booked.
off, guy. That's all you get.
Had a flight booked for 1 p.m. the Wizz Air direct. So I would have taken that. And then Prof's like, oh, we have this thing to do. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm like, yeah, well, let's work out what we're going to do with it. So we end up moving my flight, of course. Couldn't have got everybody out of bed 2 hours earlier. So we do this thing. And we only do it for an hour. Prof's not there. He's taking a rest because he's been organising the award show for the last couple of months. Fair enough. Striker's lost his fucking voice. So now we're going to bring Mira in as a ringer. And it's me plus Apex, Jack, and Flamesy. And everyone's hungover as fuck, probably besides me. But everyone thinks I'm drunk all the time because of my hair. So it's like I do that. And then my flight's at 6 p.m. I get home at 2 a.m. because I have to have a connection for 4 hours in fucking Rome.
Mate, they've worked you over on this one. They've really
and Rush
worked
was
you.
wondering why I'm in a bad mood already. I think I've just fucking found it out. I think
yeah, I think we got it. I think we understand now.
I ran into Chad, Jason, during that conference because I came in there was 4 panels.
Yeah,
you
were on
for
one of
the
panels,
first
right?
one. Mine was the last one. I came in for the first one, so I wanted to see how it goes, And I ran into Chad after I guessed the first one. Because his was the second one. And Chad you wouldn't believe it. I'm like, Chad, you look so good whenever you come back from Oz. He has a tan going. It's a huge smile on his face. Yeah. He's loving life, right? And he's like, yeah, man, it's been great. The weather's been, we did this, we did that, ocean, blah, 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 hung out with family, friends. It's like, all right, can't wait and I even gave it I said, I can't wait for day 2 of I Am Krakow for you to just go into full depressed Chad again. It didn't even take that long. It just took him, 3-4 days. So
took him his trip home, really.
Beat my expectations.
It's tough out there, guys. I'm saying every time I go home, I'm like, man, it's pretty good.
It's harder
here.
to come back. Yeah.
It's pretty nice here. It's pretty nice, especially because it's summer and then you go to Serbia and you guys are all snowed in right now. And then here in Malta, it's all right. The sun's out. Gone for a couple walks. It's been kind of nice. Went out yesterday. Went out today. The weather's not bad. But Jason, you're at Fl0m LAN.
So the Fl0m LAN, the Fl0m Mythical LAN.
Is that from a goodness of my heart type event?
Oh, I got paid, baby.
Oh, okay.
I got paid.
Don't you know Jason by now?
I know he'll do some moves. There'll be some moves that Jason will make that goodness of his heart moves. He does one a year.
There's
At
some
least.
there's some goodwill that I've got to give out in some areas, and Fl0m is definitely one of those areas where I'd give out some goodwill. But he paid for sure. Dude, the event was fun as fuck. I had a great time. That was like one of those events. Like, despite they were very long days because it was the whole like co-streamer vibe, right? Like it was like
You weren't really casting.
mesh.
It looked like a couch setup, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a couch setup, and I mean, we were really casting like it was kind of like a pro league kind of a vibe. Is like I went into it with a similar mindset of pro league, where I'm like, we're here for fun and entertainment, and if the game delivers and brings me a game worth commentating, then we're going to get into the casting and we're going to have some fun with it. But I mean, it was really just kind of being like hanging out on Fl0m stream for like 3 days. You know, that was the vibe. There was like 300, 400 people at the venue. He sold tickets out in like an hour when they went on sale, 2 hours. And it was basically just like an event where his Twitch chat was just like in the arena with us. And it was just fun. It was like a huge fucking
Sounds
party.
terrifying.
It was in some ways, but awesome in other ways. And it was great. It was one of those events I just left and I was like, I don't really feel like I worked. I actually just had so much fun just chilling. But it was like, second day was 4 best of 3. So it was just a live stream the whole way, no breaks, live the entire time. And you kind of chop and change when you would need a bathroom break or go get some food. But man, we had fun. We had fun with it. Had some player guests come up there. And you guys know how like Dallas has always gone historically at IEM, like the NA events always like feel like a reunion of sorts because we don't get many events here. So it was another one of those feelings where like so much of the NA scene was there that it was just a cool party vibe. You know?
Yeah, M80 ended up winning it, right, over NRG in the final.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, M80 looked sweet because they got Jaba in
JBA,
as well.
yeah.
They got a little bit more time, but they still haven't had a lot of practice with him. But he looked awesome in that lineup. NRG looked a little bit sketchy throughout the whole event. I thought they were pretty lucky to make the grand final, but overall, it was fun. And M80 fucking just housed him in the finals. It's fucking sweet.
Well, I guess that's kind of a soft start to the year for you in a way.
Dude,
Or was it a hard start?
It was a little bit of both, but I went into that event and I was like, oh, I'm fucked. Cause like I switched my brain off of esports for like a good 3 weeks during that break. Like from when the major ended to like leaving for Fl0m LAN, my brain really hadn't even touched Counter-Strike for that entire break. So I walked into Vegas and I was just like, oh my God, I don't fucking know if I remember how to do all this shit. So like I needed like a little soft entrance, like the little ramp up into the year. So that was a nice thing to snap me back into shape.
How about the Dinkler going? Is he still over there or is he flown home?
He flew home to Ireland yesterday. Yeah. So he flew home to Ireland. I think he's going back to the States. He's got I don't know. I don't know what his schedule is. Something like that.
I know he's going to swap keys with Hugo at some point. Something along those lines. There's going to be some
he's
key
going to
swapping.
Ireland and then
Don't
he's
know how
going
many
to
balls
Malta.
are involved, but
yeah. Well, yeah. Hopefully it's not that kind of key party, you know?
Yeah. How was the weekend for you, Yanko? You're kind of, in a way, like a semi-host to the event.
Yeah, I mean, it was fun up until no, I'm going to say because like also, of course, Sophia got sick again. It's that phase now, as Jason will know, it's week off, week on, almost.
I just consider my child sick for like 6 months at a time. Just sick.
It's been challenging somewhat towards the end of it, right? Because I had to deal with that. But outside of it, it was fun, man, as it always is when the HLTV Awards circus comes to town. I mean, so many people, familiar faces, some new ones. We didn't have as many of people from our talent group like we did last year, but
that's because Jason was missing.
Yeah.
Is it just me missing? Like really kind of
changed
the vibe?
Jason.
And Harry wasn't there.
Yeah.
Mr. Russell, as I refer to him.
They are two strong personalities, Harry Russell and I.
Two big personalities, two strong personalities, not in attendance.
But it was also for me, I mean, Friday with the conference and then the dinner that we had later. And then Saturday I dipped out during the intermission because Anna's sister, it was her birthday. So we had to go to that and, kind of stayed away from the after party too. That you mentioned, because by that point people have had so much to drink where a good half is sort of incoherent. And yeah, due to the sickness situation, does sort of a bit of an early night as well. But I realized, I think, moving forward for the award show, what I'm going to do is show up earlier on Saturday so I can actually like talk to people some more and do some networking, because it just turned out that way. The last couple of years, you know, when we were doing the limo for the talent, it's like the last one really in the schedule. So you get there, you only have about 30, 40 minutes to hang around before the ceremony starts, right? And then even the intermission, I think, was shorter this year compared to the
possibly
last ones. That's how it felt. Chad did his best trying to get people to go into the venue.
I took the microphone. I was doing a bit of MC and Jason. I was getting around.
He was singling out people one by one. Hey, you know, Paula, I see you. Get your ass inside. You know,
yeah. Shut the fuck up. Start moving into the theater.
All
it's hard to
that.
do when there's free Rakia being passed out left and right. It's not an easy job.
Yeah, and this was like the new renovated venue, bigger, even closer to me. So that was convenient.
Config looked really healthy. I saw some. I'm sorry. That was like the most amazing part of the weekend to me. I saw a picture. He like tweeted a picture of himself at the.
He didn't fall down the stairs.
And I was like, holy fuck, dude, that's you.
Right? Yeah. But I guess
Like,
you mean
fair
he looked a bit slimmer in the face? Is that
You
mainly?
could tell he has, you could tell he's
Yeah.
cut down on the drinking. So that's nice. The healthy,
How
the
could you
healthiness
tell
has come
that?
back. What do you
You
mean,
can
dude? You can tell, like the booze bloat isn't there anymore. Like
Okay.
I
guess I'm not an expert.
have a level of bloat to me as well with you know the drinking. So I mean, I can recognize when it's not there.
So I'm just fat.
see
Like, I
it.
don't have any alcohol bloat. That's fuck. Okay. I wonder how much I'd
You're
puff
just
up if I was a
jet-lagged.
drinker. Yeah, still. It's going to be a
It's
whole
the,
other
it's the
week.
camera. It's the white balance that's making you look
Yeah,
that way, Chad.
yeah, that's the one. That's the one. Okay, yeah. No, I was surprised. I said to him, I was like, "Wow, hey, config." I was like, "I like your hair," because I was just startled by the guy. I was like, "Wow,
Yeah,
that's-
he looks
seeing you
incredible.
here." Yeah. So, what some time away from the computer can do to a man, I think.
fair
I
play.
think that's the sentiment of the break. It was a very quick 3 weeks, though, really, wasn't it? Like the fact that it's already over and we're back underway, like Blast Bounty's on right now. Just to kind of timestamp this for people who will be tuning into whenever this goes out. The score right now is 9-1 in Eyeballers' favor against FaZe on map number 2. So that's just
Fuck
to
yes.
kind of put some context. And also, when I read the scoreline, I go, "Oh, hold up a second, that's not what we're expecting." FaZe just dumps them on map number 1. But anyway, that's to come. The point being this 3-week break, right? Budapest ends. For Yanko, it must have felt like a lot longer, I guess, without the... But you guys did an episode with Maui before the break, right?
Yeah, we
right
did
before
one
the
after the major.
Okay, so post-break. But yeah, the 3 weeks goes real quick. I guess it's 4 in total because with the award show and stuff, and we're straight back into things. I don't know. Does anyone have a story from their time away that like a standout funny? It doesn't have to be funny, but is there anything that comes to mind from the time away?
Really putting me on the spot here. Shit, what? I don't even know what I did over the break.
Well, you had Christmas.
I did have Christmas.
then you had New Year's.
I have nothing funny, dude. I did a road trip. Jay and I did a road trip. We got stuck. We had to stay at my grandparents' place for New Year's because we were driving into a snowstorm. We decided to pull off for the night. That's about the wildness of my break.
It sounds
Literally.
wild. It doesn't sound funny. It sounds potentially dangerous.
I got nothing. Well, that's why we stopped off. Shit. No,
I
got
went for a
nothing.
drive. I went up to the place. There's a place called the Pinnacles in Western Australia. And it's like these rock formations that are coming out of the ground. It just feels really weird that there's so many of them. You guys can look it up on your own time. But I went up there to go see the stars because when I first got to Australia, there was like it was going into the phase with no moon, right? So we were moonless. So I wanted to get a lovely view of the stars, which was that was it. Probably not a good idea after just landing from Europe and having to drive back at like 9 p.m. and I'd been going to bed at 8 p.m. earlier those days. So yeah. That
Also, not a funny story.
either.
Just kind of an adventure.
Yeah,
God,
just
our,
an adventure.
Our lives
Almost
are
got
kind
lost
of
in the
fucking
desert.
boring. If
Yeah.
we didn't have esports and Counter-Strike, we'd be fucked.
I spent some time with my sister's kids, and one of them, she's 3. Well, she's almost 4 now, and she's a terror. It's great. I love watching her like battle with my sister and her husband. It's my favorite thing. Just them just going nuts at each other. I'm like, this is great. And it really reassures like the not having children part.
I've learned that someone told me the other day that it's like because they always had like the terrible 2s, like 2 to 3 was supposed to be like this terror, like this terrifying time for a child, and that wasn't the case for me. But I've heard the new thing is it's a 3-nager.
3. My mum's been saying that.
Yeah, 3-nager. So 3 to 4 is like the new zone of like this is a fucking nightmare.
Is it a
So-
nightmare?
They're always coming up
I don't
with
know.
some new
She turns
shits, man.
She turns 3 in 12 days, and then we'll see. 2026 will be the year of the three-nager. We'll figure it out. I'll keep you guys updated throughout the year.
Okay.
Just kids, man. Kids are supposed to do stupid shit.
Yes,
Drive you crazy.
that's true. That is equally
Like, that's
true.
part
They
of
are.
them being kids. I think nowadays, like you see, like you need to let kids be kids too. Like when I hear some people, so many activities for their kids, they go to 17 languages by age 4 and piano. That's like, like relax. It's a kid, right? Like you don't need to, let them
2026, we're gonna be
let
a
them run
parenting
around a little bit
podcast.
and fall down. Let them get lost, and you're scared shitless for 6 hours, thinking they're kidnapped. It's fine.
Well, no,
Maybe not that.
I don't know about that. You-
This is not parental
and call the police and
advice.
see what's going. Yeah.
I don't know,
Look,
Chad. Like you're asking for. There's not really funny stories, man.
Sorry,
What's
I
funny
thought-
even today?
I'm sure
a
there'll be a funny
terrible-
story at some point. One will come
I
up
fell
soon.
asleep at. I didn't go anywhere for New Year's Eve. If people our age don't do that anymore, especially if you have kids. I did go to what they call a matinee.
Yep,
However
okay.
the fuck you pronounce it in French.
Yeah, matinee, that's correct.
It's basically just a day party, day drinking.
Oh.
And I did great at that. I did so well, actually, that I fell asleep at 9 p.m. before my kid. They went to bed at like 10,
Oh, that's
10:30.
excellent. Well,
So
good for
I was
you. Good
just
for-
like,
good for
you
Dan.
know, I just told me, hey, why don't you go lie down?
Old man.
I was like,
Get some
all
rest.
right. Woke up the next day like 9 a.m. or something.
I'd never heard of somebody refer to day drinking though as a matinee. A matinee for me would be, there's
An
a
afternoon
theatre
movie?
performance. I've gone to go watch the matinee performance of Mary Poppins, but no, you've gone for the day drinking.
matinee.
Well, this
day
was the
drinking.
matinee performance of Milan Parapapa Nedeljkovic, my very good friend, and a singer and a keyboard player.
Say that three times fast.
I didn't go to a performance where the performance is myself drinking. Chad. It was
well, it
like,
sounds like a
a
performance
restaurant
to
and
say his name.
music and food and drinks.
Say his name again.
Milan Nedeljkovic.
Oh, what was but there was another
Parapapa.
bit. Oh, okay. All right.
I guess that's his stage.
I wanted to get into some stuff, but there's two.
We have a
two
lot to get
things.
into.
Well,
There's a yeah.
what did you want to start with the awards?
Well, first I wanted to say happy birthday to Jason for his birthday yesterday on the show, so
Oh,
everyone in
thank
the
you.
comments can say happy birthday, Jason.
Thank you very much.
The other I want to say, Yanko, thank you for your efforts at the award show to try and get us sponsors.
You're
Oh, were
welcome,
you
Chad.
out there? Were you out there shopping the potty?
I was, to the best of my ability, which isn't a lot. I'm not American, so I don't know how to randomly come to people and start talking to them.
You just start talking to me in Serbian.
I
right?
used
It's
all
your
of my
hotel.
charm, all right?
And,
Are you
and
afraid,
then-
Jason?
I just imagine your charm is bringing over a glass of rakia and just see where you can take it.
Sort of.
We met the owners of YouTube. We're going to actually be taken down after this episode, so that's how it
Good.
went. Yeah,
That's something I'm hoping. Yeah.
we could start with the awards if you want, Yanko. Where would you like to start with the awards?
I think just a couple of categories that somehow were controversial for people.
Is it the world number one?
Somehow.
World number one is one of them.
Okay.
I don't know who did you guys have, but
So here's the thing. This isn't a conversation of, right, who does everybody else think is the number one player in the world? It's who does HLTV think is the number one player in the world, right? Because it's the
Yeah.
HLTV Awards. So with that in mind, I was under the impression it was going to be Zaiwu. And it was Zaiwu. So for me, no surprise there. People seem to think I know like who won all the awards and everything before. I have no idea. I'm in the dark just like everybody else. I literally have no idea. None.
Yeah.
Like the only thing I know is who I voted for in the panel awards. That's it. And who I
Yep.
voted for in the Hall of Fame, but that's announced beforehand.
Yep.
Jason, you weren't at the Hall of Fame meeting, so
I wasn't at the Hall of Fame meeting. I did have a presence at the HLTV Awards. I had the voiceovers. How did they sound inside the theater?
sounded great.
Thank you.
Yeah, Hugo had some voiceover action. So did Harry. They were getting involved. I haven't been asked for any voiceover action. I don't
Me
know what's
neither.
going on there.
Well, I
Yeah.
think you're pretty much fucking built into the show in about every other aspect. I think if they add something else to your plate, you're gonna fucking die.
they didn't
know?
need an Eastern European villain this time around. But
Not this time.
soon, my time is coming.
Frank's writing you into as many skits as possible. Also, I asked him about that thing we were
As the
talking about.
villain.
Yeah, Yanko, and he hasn't replied yet, so
That's all good.
I'll message him again.
But yeah, I think that's one thing that gets people's, panties in a twist, that they think it's like, it's just HLTV's list, man. And that's what they say. This is like, that's
Yeah.
Yeah, Jason?
I was gonna say this is it's a testament to like HLTV and like the impact they have, because the reason people are upset is because this is kind of considered the baseline of the conversation that you have, right? Because HLTV is such a dominant presence in terms of articles, statistics, analysis. It's where we go to find everything we need to know about teams and players. They have that element of authority when they make these awards, so people naturally get fucking annoyed by it.
Yeah. So even putting all that aside, I mean, I'm still taking ZywOo over Donk because of two things, right? First of all, he has, I think 40 or something more maps in playoffs of big events, right, than Donk has. So when you talk about statistics, I mean, sample size also matters, right? And in some of the tournaments in the first half of the year, Spirit was losing before they even got to Vitality. Right? Like, so they were getting beaten by teams like Mouse, Falcons even at some point, second half of the year too. I mean, they lost to Mongols with controllers as well, amongst other teams, right? So meanwhile, you have events like Astana, where they didn't have any real opposition, right? Cologne is obviously the one that stands out a lot, but they beat Navi and Mouse in the playoffs, in the semifinal and the final. Again, this is something you can't blame Spirit for, but just in the context of things, knowing that Vitality was the team of the year and that they struggled a lot against Falcons outside, of course, the major quarterfinal and the Zway game, that all matters to me. And there's another thing where it's ZywOo should not be punished for having the better team. Because he doesn't have to put the team on his back every single time, but he did on occasion, and in big games and in crucial moments or certain maps or a best of 5 final. Like, you can't say that ZywOo was just racking up the stats because he's primarily an AWPer and he had a great team. Like, that wasn't the case. He was more aggressive. I felt like this year, especially in crunch time, was very much reliable. And it's a different conversation to me as well. How I look at it is, there's a player who was the best player this year, right? Does that mean he's the most skilled player? No. Like, mechanically skilled or whatever? No, but he had the best year. And I think that's undisputed when it comes to ZywOo. Easy comparison is like, would you say that Tom Brady is the, best thrower of the football? No, he's very much he's very much down. That would be the equivalent of mechanically skilled or the most athletic guy. No, but is he the greatest in terms of winning? Yes. Did he have great defenses to go along with it? Yeah, he did.
And but he had Randy Moss, who's a great catcher of the football.
Yeah, I mean, he had great teammates, great teams, great coach, right? But that's the point. Like, you can argue that some other guys were better as an individual if you take everything else out of the equation, but that's not how it works. Like, it's a team game. You're a part of the team. And I think for me, that was clear.
Look, I think the conversation's warped. Like, it's a strange conversation. It's not even one that I like having, right? Because
I can't believe I made a case for Tom Brady, Jason. Screw you.
That was fucking weird, dude. I didn't say anything.
That's what the break does to a man. Yeah. Oh dear. This is a conversation that I see it, and it immediately makes me recoil in my seat. Like, yuck. It's such, I feel like the goalposts have shifted from whatever we're talking about, and then I see like all these comparisons and stuff, and then people are talking about Simple in 2018, and I'm like, what are we doing? Like, when I'm looking at Counter-Strike, and I do this every year after this fucking awards show, for fuck's sake. Well, I'm doing it again right now. The game is, first and foremost, for me, team Counter-Strike, right? The individual accolades and stuff, they mean less to me than teams winning trophies. That's what matters the most to me, right? Without a doubt. That is my number one motivating factor. And then when this conversation starts, it just lines up with the break. And then no one has any matches to talk about, so they start talking about this shit. And this stat conversation is also why we have this constant headhunting nonsense going on for players all the time when people don't understand what impact a player is actually having within the server because of stats. And I have no issue with these like sports stat driven guys and them making these graphs and everything like that. I think what Harry's brought or Smart Backwards and stuff, it's interesting in their talking points. But again, they're not the way that I look at Counter-Strike. And I feel like that old guy, right, in the Moneyball movie who's sitting around the table.
You're like,
and Jonah
just
Hill
like
comes
you can't build a baseball team with stats, with numbers.
Right, and I feel like that guy, but I feel that those guys, at least in Counter-Strike, we're not outdated and dead yet. We maybe will
Not
be.
yet.
Maybe the
We're
Jonah
on our
Hills
way.
will come in and they'll fuck us up one day. But right now, we're still doing the thing. And then when I get this conversation, I don't even want to get into the weeds about it because like people are always going to shift the goalposts and come up with like, oh no, but he was this in certain stats. What's the thing? He was top 1 in 26 out of 28 different categories or whatever. I don't even know what those fucking categories are. I didn't even look at them. I didn't even look at the categories.
Who cares?
I don't give a fuck what those categories are. Like, and people think that I have a horse in the race because I do the award show.
What does that mean? What does it mean to have a horse in the race of the top player of the world? By the way, like what do you get out of ZywOo being number one? What have you got in your back pocket now? You get like a little extra kickback or something from Vitality?
I don't know.
ZywOo gets his bonus check and he passes it on to you. You know, like what's happening here?
It's just, I think like the big one that you brought up, Yanko, is like the sample size. If you're constantly going deep and winning tournaments, you're playing harder matches more often, which means you're playing against, you know, like bigger and better opponents. And then someone will come through with a fine tooth comb and they go, oh, actually, in the playoffs, they didn't play the higher ranked teams like Spirit. They don't care, right? Like they're playing in more finals than Spirit. They're winning more trophies than Spirit, right? These things all factor in for me, right? You can be the best player and you can be trying to carry 4 other absolute fucking noobs. How about this? Let's you, me, Jason, plus, I don't know, fucking Harry, we'll play with Donk. And he can have even more stats. He can get even more kills. It's still not going to make him like, you know, it's not going to shift that needle for me because he has higher ADR because the 4 of us can get 4 kills a game combined or some shit, you know, like that. This isn't. And now I'm talking about it. I hate myself.
I'll move it along because the other category.
I have a question. I have a question on to stay on to do the last thing on this ZywOo and Donk thing. I guess one way that I've thought, like, is this a better way to phrase it? Of like, well, I guess here's the thing. Fuck. Who's the number 1 player of 2025? You know, if you had to start a team right now, if someone gave you $10 million, you had to start a team. Are you buying ZywOo or are you buying Donk? You can buy one of them. I'm buying Donk.
Yeah, I know that's another way to put it. Like, who do you think? But that's different, right?
Yeah, I know. I almost think that's the more important question in a way.
I think you would Donk, but it also depends on how many. You know, like I understand if it were a draft, right? And there's 10 people in it, and then you pick, and then you wait to pick again and whatnot. But yeah, you'd probably get Donk over. Yeah.
But I also, you know, if I was gonna have a vote in these HLTV Awards, I would have picked ZywOo as the number 1 player of the year as well. Like the year
because
they had
is a different thing.
I don't know. Actually, I can't actually. I don't want to give you an answer on the spot between the two. Like ZywOo has a lot of underrated qualities, man. Like it's rare that you find such a superstar caliber player with.
No ego.
I feel like just enough ego now. He didn't have it at all, like to a point where it's a point of criticism for him. But he's such a great teammate. Will do whatever like just goes for the most correct play every single time. Isn't super demanding. Doesn't get emo during games, right? Like to the level where we can obviously tell. Sure, I'm sure he's not a robot. He has mood swings too and everything. But I mean, you put all of that into his clutch factor. He can play with the AWP, play with the rifle. I don't know what I would say. I would have to think a little bit harder about it because there you have team spirit with Donk. It's all great. Vitality still by far the better team, and not like completely filled with superstars, just very well put together team that allows the players to sort of thrive and in the environment, which is a perfect segue into the coach of the year category, where somehow people actually wanted to give it to someone other than Xtaz. I don't know, like people are crazy, like talking about, oh, he wasn't mentioned as much, or we don't know what a coach does. What do you think? So what do you think he does? What do you think actually he does that would not
he's got the best
warrant,
team in the world, Yanko. Anybody can do it,
How
right?
little do you think he can do to have that job, right? And for them to be, I mean, what you think he brings the water to people? And like are you crazy? Like, we're talking about one of the premier orgs in esports, right? And with the structure and everything that they have, obviously he does a ton for the team. And Messi did a little bit of an improvement because he was directly asked. He gave some insight, but I think it was the same with the Robban situation. He got robbed that time where he didn't win Coach of the Year just because, it's Kerrigan, and you know how much he does. You could see what happened to FaZe after Robban was gone, right? Like, not every team needs a blade, man. You know, like different teams have different needs, and they had an unbelievable year, managing a team through the case. First, only the highs, but being able to maintain that consistency in the first half of the year and win all those events in a row, and still, be able to close out at the major, to close out that game in Melbourne, and to win the Grand Slam. Like, all those things are so hard to do, where I think it's crazy that people were even suggesting
it was up for debate. Yeah,
other names, especially Halle. Like, Halle wasn't top 3 for me. For me, it was
I was surprised Halle was in there.
It was Extaz, Mara, then Cyclone.
Yeah.
I don't know.
This is where
it's not even because of their win. They won, they didn't win. I know it wasn't it was a tough year for them with all the roster changes. I can accept that, but I mean, for a good amount of time, you're watching their T side. It's not great. I mean, but you have Donk, who was always good for a round or two with a hero AK or with something, and that that definitely helps move things along. But against the best of teams, like on T side, it's been a struggle.
I think especially this coach one is like a good testament. Like, I think so many of these things, when I looked over them, I was like, I even tweeted, like, I'd love to make the case for Mara, and I think we should make the case for Mara, not as if he actually had a chance of winning the award, but I think it's important to highlight how good of a year he also had. I think it's a testament that we had a lot of coaches, and even in some of these other awards, a lot of players do very, very cool things this year that should get them some credit and should acknowledge it. But, at the end of the day with these awards, like, going through it, you're just like, with the year Vitality had, the number of trophies they won as a team, you're like, there's no fucking argument. Like, I'm going to say this about Mara. I'm going to say this is a really impressive year, and I'm going to position this argument like he deserves to be in the conversation because he does. But in reality, he's not even fucking close to beating out Extaz as Coach of the Year, But
it's people making up narratives that they want to run with, right? Because again, unless you're close to the team and you physically have been in the room, or you know what the coach does and what they present, you have no idea. You only can tell from what the players say or what snippets we fortunately get from the broadcast if we get a listen in. And even then, it's very minimal. Otherwise, you might get to talk to them at a bar or at a hotel, or you can talk to them in a shuttle, or maybe you get a little interview with them on air. Those are the only things you have to go off. The main thing you have to go off is the results. Right? That's the thing that you have to go off. That's the thing that you actually have as hard, tangible data that you can use, is the results. So when people are making cases for these other players, these other coaches, like, oh yeah, but they had these roster changes and they still managed this. It's like, yeah, but these guys had the greatest season of all time. They are in the conversation now alongside of Astralis as one of the greatest Counter-Strike teams of all time, and they're still going. So with the year that they had, with all the trophies, if you're going to go, oh no, but they had Zywoo. Oh no, but they had Rops. Oh no, but Mezzi was Anchor of the Year. Yeah. And you can do all the, Apex was in-game leader of the year. What are we doing? Like, it just gets away from us so quick. We're just making up all these stories as to why we think someone is. It's a story. It's not even. You don't have any real data other than your perceived opinion of the situation, which in my mind makes awards like this and the in-game leader one. At the in-game leader one, there's a bit more to go off of. But this is like, we're giving away an award. It is essentially an achievement award if a team is as dominant as they were this year.
And listen, I think that's also where the panel comes into play a little bit, because you worked on these games, you watch these games, right? And perhaps you see something like, all right, this team played good Counter-Strike, but maybe were unfortunately, like for Mara, it's some of the things like they didn't seem like they missed a step with controllers coming in. You could see when he wasn't there for a couple of games in Chengdu how they struggled, and how when he was back, they were able to make a run, and so on and so forth, just finding talent again and again. And for Cyclone, it's having a new IGL at the start of the year, building that consistency, speaks of the...
maintaining it.
Yeah, the staff and the structure that they put in. I mean, Vitality made a roster change at the start of the year. as if people like tend to forget that Rob's only arrived at the start of the year, and for him to be able to slot in is a testament, sure, to him as a player, but also to what they already had in place, where once he joined as the last piece of the puzzle, everything clicked. And also, I mean, Navi had closer of the year, anchor of the year last year, IGL team coach, and what happened this year. So, I mean, it's not a testament to its or a guarantee of what's going to happen moving forward, but you need to give them their flowers for a year that they had.
I think also there's also an element like when you see like when Chad, you listed like all the areas in which like Vitality had like Mezzi with Anchor of the Year, you know, you have all these different Vitality players in there too. Like you don't win that many awards if your team is not like playing incredibly together. Like you don't win those awards really as individuals all the time. Like Mezzi is getting Anchor of the Year because they learned how to play. They played so well together as a unit. So many players playing that well make each other better.
They only win that many events because of that.
Yeah, and that's where you have to also look and say, well, to have a coach that's part of this team, that's helping this team play this well so consistently as a unit, that you have the best players in so many positions, like how can you go away from it? I think some of this too, I don't know if you guys have this feeling. I always have this sense when I'm thinking about these awards, and I notice like my angle on things is so much different than the average person's like comment that I read in public. I'm like, there's an issue with me having competed that's like separating, like being a good teammate is a skill, is like a talent. You know what I mean? Like it's really hard for me to separate team achievements and team qualities out of individual statistics that most people want to focus on. Because I'm like, there's so many broken people in competitive Counter-Strike that cannot be a good teammate. It is a talent and a skill that you have to learn and develop, just like any other skill inside the game. Yeah, and it's like that. Like in some sense, I am just like, please, we should be rewarding that too, because like if you don't develop that skill, you're never going to be on a top team. You're never going to be one of the top players.
Jason Moses O'Toole, Man of the Year award.
$1 Million Man of the Year.
That's what I'm going for. I'm going for it this year. 2026 Talent of the Year. I'm going to come in hot. I'm going to get all the fucking community votes, and I'm going to win it all.
Jason, here's the thing. Like, if we can make sure Banks doesn't win 3 in a row, let's start now, because that's what I was thinking. We all have to start campaigning. How many languages you know?
1. But it's a good one. It's a really good one.
Try.
Like, why wouldn't that be something that's voted also by a panel?
Because I think, well, I don't know.
There's not players, but you include like some journalists, members of talent, TOs. Like,
but isn't it just one of these things though, where, you know, because there's a lot of other awards as part of that category that are just fan voted things, right? So I think that the angle they're looking for is interaction,
community engagement. Yeah.
And you have to advertise in multiple different languages to get that, Jason.
Yeah, I know.
That's what has to be done.
I got to work on my social media game.
Because I saw it last year, and I didn't like it last year, and it happened again this year, and I didn't like it this year. But you know what? It's going to keep happening, and I don't want it to. I want the only way I've decided is, because no one's going to say anything, is we have to fight fire with fire. No one else did it. No one else tries to do it. But the only way is to fight fire with fire.
Don't blame the player, blame the game.
Exactly, right? And I don't like it. I think it's tasteless. But you know, if that's the way it's got to be played, that's the way we're going to have to play the game.
Then here we go. We're going to fucking roll up our socks and descend into the fucking muck.
It is so fucked though. Like, I think they should just scrap that award altogether. It's just a popularity contest thing. It's fucking.
I hate it.
It's disgusting.
I'm with you.
It makes me feel slimy.
That's why I don't touch it. I also wasn't nominated this year, but even when I am nominated, I don't touch it.
I didn't retweet any of the shit. I didn't make it, like, you know, but now I'm like, but I should have.
Yeah, because it doesn't matter to you as much as it matters to other people.
Yeah, you're right.
Because, you know.
But it still annoys me.
But enough of all that. I think.
Is there any other controversial award out there outside of top player, top coach?
Shittiest top 20 I remember ever. Like,
doing from top to bottom.
Okay. Yeah, kind of just didn't make like much sense, except for the very top, whatever. But like, I don't know how Bit is on there. Like, I read the articles, some of them, and I see the justifications and everything. But like, Heavy God isn't there. He ended up being the second in voting for Anchor of the Year, and he was like, okay, 20. And people say, oh yeah, but he was one behind. It's like, I don't know. Some of it, what I got from it is like, I almost want to figure out a way for us to do an end of the year, not a show or anything, but some sort of a ranking of players in our subjective way.
Look, I've been thinking of this. I've been putting some thought. I've been putting some thought into this, right? And one of the hardest things to be able to do, right, is like we don't have advanced statistics like HLTV, and I also think we would maybe be less just pure stat driven than HLTV, right? And I like Launders does his thing, Maui does his thing. You know, I'm sure Duncan has his list somewhere as well, and they're all going to differ slightly from one another, right? This is how these things are going to go. But HLTVs are kind of based off of when, you know, Petter was a part of it. He wasn't a part of it this year anymore. Now it's just Harry and Striker. And it's
that's
based
why
off,
it's the shittiest.
Well, it's just based off of they're basing it off of a lot of criteria from when Petter was there, right? Like to do
but
with
the Serbian
EVPs.
ain't there anymore, Chad. That makes it worse. Well, immediately.
I don't look. I think that they have the best intentions there when they're doing this, right? And whether it lines up with what we think or we don't think, that's the whole. It's getting conversation. That's what this is, right? This causes conversation. It's interaction. Now, I'm not really a massive fan of the whole thing, to be completely honest, but it's now like essentially an institution. And I thought, okay, well, we should maybe look to play the game too, right? If we're gonna be playing games, boys, let's play all the games, shall we? Now, with this one, I wanted to bring this to the council to discuss. Now, what I was thinking, because we do have a pretty active Discord, if people want to join, if they're listening to the episode right now, you can probably find a link on the YouTube somewhere.
Also, great time to mention you guys should like and subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Yeah, perfect.
2026, we're going to get that shit cranking up too. Yeah.
There we go. Let's see how shameless we can really get. We'll take our tops off on some episodes
full
too.
Fucking dude, I spent a weekend as a co-streamer. I'm going fucking full shameless from now
There
on.
we go. You learned from one of the best.
Yeah, I did.
So it's 3,500 right on the Discord right now, and whether or not there's obviously not that many active users, but a lot of people are quite active. So what I was thinking we could do now, Jason, this is going to mean a little bit of work on your side, but I'll do the bulk of the work on my side, depending on how we want to push it. But we need to probably make a Discord channel, and it's essentially we can work this out together. But I was thinking we do a channel where at the end of each big boy event right now, so the first one would be Blast Bounty. I don't care about anything that happens in the online portion. I'll be completely honest with you. But after the playoffs, where it's on LAN in the studio in Malta, we get the people at home who are watching to submit a bunch of things in a bunch of different categories, right? So one of them would be the highlight of the playoffs, right? So what was the best round or rounds that people would submit from the playoffs? Now, whether that is an individual highlight, the best team-based highlight, whatever, that would be one category I'd like to do. The best match of the playoffs. Now, there might be all duds. There might not even be any good matches of the playoffs. But either way, make a marker of that event for Bounty. There was a couple of other things in there that I had as well.
Best round of playoffs, best match of playoffs.
Yes, right. And then the other one, we have to work out how to do the player. We could get the people at home to submit who they think the best player was, right? And we can then go through and we can decide who we think it was between us, or we could even be more role based, right? We could talk about, because I also think that the roles and the way it's defined on HLTV, that's going to become outdated and might have to change. Because I don't know if you guys saw, there was a guy on Twitter throughout the break. He was talking about how, you know, somebody like Mezzi is not even a pure anchor, as opposed to somebody like Heavy God who plays all anchor positions, but Mezzi is kind of a bit of a hybrid between the two, same as Rops, right? So I think they were saying that that's kind of more like a supportive player, as opposed, like that role might become support as a. This is it, right?
To me, Chad. Don't fucking. You're going to tilt me off face the earth with this.
But things are going to constantly evolve, right? That's what's going to happen. But either way, we got a Discord channel. People submit it, and then we talk about those things in the preceding episode, right? And we decide, okay, so that we think that was the best highlight. We think that was the best. We agree. We think that was the best playoff match, and we think this was the best player or players, or however we're going to do it. And then that way, we have a catalog. And when we get to the end of the season or the end of the year, we can go and reflect on that. And we can go, okay, like this is where we think, you know, let's weigh them up against each other.
Okay,
and
so we're talking about having these things throughout the events throughout the year, and then when we get to like the end of the first season or the end of the second season, end of the second year, we could go back and say, okay, look at, you know,
let's do it seasonally.
In January, like we thought this guy was this good, and you know, like
let's do it seasonally. We may as well. They're capped off by majors, right? They're pretty much the exact same length. Let's do it seasonally. Is there any?
When do you want to begin this? Do you want to begin this at Katowice? Do you want to begin this at the Blast Bounty playoffs? Okay. We'll have to come up with a list. This before the playoffs end. We'll have a list of awards we can do. I'll figure out a way to come up with a channel and organize it that we can make sure the awards are going to be there.
People need to submit in that channel. Yeah. And we can go through that channel and take a look.
Okay. I'll talk to our Discord boy, and we'll see what we can organize.
Does that seem like a good way? Because Yanko, what was it
like
that you
it.
wanted to kind of conclude upon? Did you want to do a top 20 list? What did you want to do?
No, I didn't want to do a top 20. I wanted to do just within the categories, and maybe we would come up with categories that people don't necessarily have yet.
Okay.
You know, it wouldn't necessarily have to be by position, best anchor, best this, best that. It could be something.
Unsung Hero Award.
Could be. I'm still workshopping it. Obviously, I have plenty of time to come up with something.
Yeah.
So not high on the priority list, but just something that's not, first and foremost, that's not so heavily stats driven. Right?
Sure.
And I know that people will obviously disagree with that even more because it's more subjective, but I don't care. That's what we do. That's what we're here for, right? To give our opinion. So, yeah, I feel like there's room for something like that in the...
Yeah.
And
I like
fortunately,
it in
there's
space.
three of us, so that we can always have a tiebreaker, or so that there's that's I like
Exactly.
it. Okay. So maybe on that as well, with Yanko's point there, everybody, if this is ending up, people can put comments in the YouTube channel or on Spotify or in the Discord channel about maybe ways that we could categorize these things, and we'll take some of them under advisement and see if we can use some of them if there's some good suggestions. Okay, cool. Now, hold up a second. Filling.
In the criminal justice system, the people are represented by two separate yet equally important groups: the police who investigate crime and the district attorneys who prosecute the offenders. These are their stories.
Gentlemen, today I've got the three of you here for a big discussion. It's a big one for 2026. Now, it does relate to the Discord. There have been 3 high-profile bannings in the Discord in recent time. One being a gentleman called Huz. Huz was banned. He was apparently quite annoying, but Psychological was the man who drew the attention to Huz and has had Huz banned. Now, why do I mention Psychological? He was the second high-profile Discord ban. He was the man who took the comments that I made regarding FaZe not wanting to play with a liege and turning them solely into Frozen not wanting to play with a liege, and then starting a whole little kerfuffle about Frozen being the reason that a liege was kicked from FaZe, which caused a lot of press of unnecessary stature, so this clown could get Reddit clout. Third and finally, in the more recent time during the major, an individual known as Asalem was banned by Yanko. Now, I believe for goading Yanko while Falcons were losing. I wanted to bring these 3 names to the council today to discuss if we would be happy to unban one of the 3 names brought into question here today.
No.
No.
Screw them all.
Just a flat out no.
No, they're bad.
I like the idea of one. You know, I like the idea of one of the 3.
One of
It's
the
very,
3.
it's very medieval. It's like 2 of you are
Right.
fucked, but one of you is just
You clearly know nothing about the medieval times. It's 0 out of 3 in medieval times.
We'll be
but
beheaded, actually.
This is more like doing the, Democratic Party's rule or something like that.
It's like the public mercy, so that there's no uprising.
And there's
Not-
hope.
But you're still sending the message.
Not quite autopen material, but somewhere
I like
in
it
between.
because what we've done is gone too far over the line, out of the gate. And then almost as like this is almost like giving back to like let them know. Yeah, we know we stepped over. We know we had
Yeah.
like a little temper tantrum. Yeah.
Now that
I
if
like one.
any of these 3 names,
One.
if they did return, they would be on a 1-strike policy.
Okay.
They don't get a reset to a 3-strike policy. They have a year-long probation.
Yeah. Okay.
They have a
Year-long probation.
of a 1-strike policy.
All right.
Now
How
Huz
do we
was-
want to select?
Now, here's the thing. This is the hard part. So
Okay.
the most recent and probably the biggest wound is Asalem goading Yanko because it was during the major and things weren't going well for Falcons.
It wasn't because of that. It was because he already did something like that, and I told him don't, because it's very obvious what he's trying to
He's
do.
trying to
right?
bait. Okay.
He's trying
Yeah,
to
yeah.
bait me, and I'm like seeing it, and I'm not surprised. But
It wasn't the contact, it was the act of
And I'm
baiting.
in the watch party channel, sort of interacting with other people on the Discord, right? It's like, I'm not gonna stand for that. I don't care if people think it's unfair or whatever. Like, that's what you have to live with. So once he did it the second time, I just straight up ban them, and that's it. Like
Okay.
it's the same thing I would do to people who interacted that way with me on X. Like
Yeah.
you talk shit, or if I warned you once already and you do it again, it's like I don't care, man.
I think if I was going to bring a name to the table here, it would be whoever this Huz gentleman is. I've seen a lot
we
of
need
conversation.
to know, what did he do to get banned?
Well, I've asked the people, and the people said that he was just being annoying, and that psychological.
Sounds like a great reason.
Well, the people said that psychological is the one who kind of like put him in the crosshairs of us, or I don't know who banned him. I don't know who banned him, but he got banned.
Probably me.
Okay.
Now-
Psychological did what? Oh, he leaked. He leaked. Or he was the one
He
who
didn't
changed
leak.
your.
He
He's the one who
was
changed your face
misrepresented.
thing. Misrepresented what you said. Yeah.
Take a
Put
look at
words
this
in your
guy.
mouth.
Right? So,
'Cause
I
here's
would
the-
say
yeah.
Huz, because I don't even remember Huz.
Yeah, I don't remember
Look,
Asalem either.
if he was racist or using
See,
slurs,
that's what scares me. This is what I'm saying. You can't give a second chance for racism. You can't give a second chance for slurs.
You're right.
Well, you can, but I'm not going to. Psychological, that one seems pretty cut. See, for me, it'd be Asalem, but I also understand Yanko's point of view. This is a hard one.
He's not getting unbanned.
Okay.
I've been petitioning for the asalem unban. He's one of my favorite HLTV users, but Yanko's pretty hard line on this. So I think we
Come
could
on,
start.
Yanko. Come on, Yanko. Let him free.
Dudes are not fucking treating me like they're jester in Discord, dude. They're just not. I don't give a fuck.
I want to make a sidebar here just quickly. Someone who's on thin ice is this guy whose name is Donk. He's on thin ice. It's not the real Donk, everybody who doesn't participate in the Discord. It's a guy whose name is Donk, who's not Donk. He is on the thinnest of ice.
Oh man, Donk's posts in the Discord are kind of my guilty pleasure at the moment. I even said today, some guy asked me about if I were Zonic, the overpassing
saw
for
that.
no
It was
Anubis
good.
conundrum, and Donk replied before I even saw it. I was like, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I agree with Donk. He actually made a really reasonable point. I'm like, yep. When we get to the Anubis part, I'll give him a shout out.
This is an important. There's actually an important point to get to here though, because especially specifically with this whole Asalem thing with Yanko, where it's like, look, guys, you have to
Why
realize
do you
with
keep
this
coming back to
Discord.
this guy, Jason?
I'm got your back
Why
on
are
this
you
one.
so
Just shut the
obsessed
fuck
with
up
him?
for a second. I have your back here. You guys have to realize what this Discord is. This Discord's like a little like safe fucking island of community engagement for us.
At least we thought it
It's-
was.
We thought it was. Like when we go play Pugs of Counter-Strike, everyone fucking tryhards against us. Everyone wants to talk shit with us. Everyone wants to fucking needle us and rage bait us. And we hop on the Reddit forums, HLTV forums to try and have a conversation in public. Everyone wants to gang up because they want to get one over on the talent. And I know this sounds narcissistic, saying that's everyone's goal to kind of get one up on us, but that's what it's like when we go out into like the public and actually try and have that kind of like a reasonable conversation. So for us, this Discord is a place we get to interact with the fans in the community, in a place of people wanting to interact and have those conversations with us. So if it turns into like a rage baiting exchange, we are just going to fucking ban you. It's just going to happen.
Yeah.
This is
That's
our
why
safe
Chad
haven. It's our
quit
safe
the
space.
Discord like 17 times already. I just like, if I didn't ban that guy, you might have been next.
That's
in
true.
the crosshairs, Chad, and then we would have lost you on the Discord. And Discord is such a better place when you're on the server, man. You know,
I've been in there for a while now. Like, there's a bit of consistency since my return.
I'd ban everyone in there outside of Bob Bombinski, just to keep you in there. And Donk, my brother.
Donk's on thin fucking ice. So, look, can we investigate this Huz situation?
Yeah, well, I'll look into the Huz situation.
And then
Okay.
we'll share our ruling next episode.
I intelligently, when I set up this Discord, I created a channel. Whenever we ban someone, it gives like the reason or what we banned them for. So I can
Okay.
go find
Where the hell is that?
What channel's that? Is
I
that
don't
mod
know.
logs?
I don't know. I set it up 3 years ago. I have to think about it first. Yeah, mod logs is probably in there. Yeah, but there's a lot of shit going on in there. It's anytime we like mute or delete a comment, or anytime that the bot like auto deletes something. So, yeah, well, I'll do some investigating. I'll see what I can find.
Okay, so it could be justice for Huz.
It really is going to be a CSI situation.
Yeah, we are going to have to investigate this
No,
to
that
no
was
end.
Law and Order, you muppet.
What the fuck ever?
Jesus Christ,
Who the
Jason.
fuck watches those shows? My fucking retired parents watch that shit.
Law and Order was great, all right?
Hey, why did we talk? Oh, okay, never mind.
SVU was great. It was all good. It was all good watching. Okay, Great. So we haven't solved anything, but we're on the road to solving something. We need a channel so that we can keep tabs on highlights from events, et cetera, et cetera. We're going to look to unban Huz, and I think we need to start a reform process for psychological and asalem where we have a quite a stringent amount of criteria if they want to get back.
Maybe we could
Because there
make
needs
like
to be a way back.
Maybe we make like a Google Doc, like a quiz of like what behavior is okay in the Discord, and they have to get like 8 out of 10 of them correct to be allowed back into the Discord.
There might have to be a public apology as well.
Oh,
on, like,
a video
Twitter.
apology. Yeah, like you have to look right into the camera as well. Like no breaking eye contact. Big apology.
Oh,
How bad do you want it?
How bad do you want it? Now we're actually cooking. These are some of the best ideas of 2026.
Maybe they can like stand in a line with their photos, and James Banks can interview them.
Okay, I see where he's going there.
Oh dear. Yeah. Okay. All right. Cool. Let's.
Yeah. Roster changes.
Well,
Where do we want to go next? We still have a lot.
Yeah, and we're not going to get through all of it, and no one ever expected us to. But there's a couple of things that came out in the last couple of days that I think are pretty interesting to kick off with. And I say kick off with as we're an hour into the episode. But the StarLadder and Stake launching the Stake ranked circuit for Tier 2. Did you see this? This looks pretty cool.
Yeah, I saw it on the flights, but I haven't been able to see the details yet to it.
So the details, this is as StarLadder's tweet. It says, Stake X StarLadder, a brand new Tier 2 LAN tournament series built to give rising CS2 teams real LAN experience and global visibility. It's called Stake Ranked. It says Episode 1, so I guess that'll be the
StarLadder
first.
LAN circuit for Tier 2.
Yes, April 1 to 4, Episode 2, May 27 to 30. Winner, the prize pool overall is 100,000. So I think you can be invited to this if you're outside of the top 12, right? It's like 13 and down. You can't be invited to a Tier 2 event if you're a top 12 team, I think.
Yeah.
Main event is on LAN. The qualifiers are online. Finals in European capitals, so to be somewhere in the Schengen. Format is double elimination, best of 3. The main event is 8 teams, 6 teams direct invitation based on global VRS starting from 13th rank. 2 teams advancing from closed qualifiers. The closed qualifiers are going to be 14 teams invited via global VRS. So they are complying with the 20-team requirement to have a VRS tournament at the moment, right? So 14 online and 6 will be directly invited to make the 20. That's for the closed. And then open qualifiers will be held online on the Faceit platform, game server location, VRS used for direct invites the 12th of February. Okay, so they've just put in some information there regarding that. But either way, the overall point of this is not what I've seen all the people having a sookie wah-wah about in terms of the fact that Stake's the name brand sponsor of this.
Yeah.
It's the main point is that we were very worried about the structures in Tier 2, and we had so many of these smaller LAN events pop up, like the Draculans, et cetera, which did a really good job, especially padding around the major cutoff dates. And now that StarLadder alongside of Stake are going to be working together to be putting this on, this is great. This is fantastic news.
Love it.
And I think that, I'm going to jump off in a pretty big way straight away, but this is even a scenario where if you're a ranked 13 and onwards team who might have an invite overlapping with a Tier 1 event, that it may actually be in your better interest to get some LAN wins and go to an event like this. In some teams or some situations, it may actually be a better opportunity for you to compete in something along these lines than go to an event where you're going to get ruffle stomped by big teams not getting any LAN wins, et cetera, et cetera. So this is really going to shake things up and quite interesting. I would love to know the dates for all of them and start plotting them into the calendar that I was whipping up. But Tier 2 looking good. This is a great initiative. That's my feelings.
I think it's actually huge for multiple reasons. I think one, obviously, the changes to what kind of partners are allowed and removing all the different like third-party case opening websites from being allowed to be part of like the VRS sponsorship package by Valve. I think that worried me about what kind of a scene the Tier 2 was going to have this year, because that seemed to be most of the people pumping money into that part of, especially around the VRS cutoffs for the major. So having StarLadder come in like this, I think, is huge, and with Stake with them. I think it's obviously huge too. StarLadder just ran the major and there was some shakiness to it, but I think people have to remember, like pre-COVID, this was one of our premier tournament operators. So them coming in and having a circuit, even at the tier 2 level, I think is huge for them to get back into the swing of being in Counter-Strike and running these events. And I think they're going to be I think they're going to raise the bar and the level of tier 2 Counter-Strike events as well. I think it's actually sweet in like every way.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's the other thing in terms of the quality of some of these events that we've discussed, like especially ones at LAN cafes. You don't know what type of quality there's going to be. I think from a business perspective for StarLadder, they were always going to struggle to try and take, especially when you need to announce
tier
events
1 presence
so
away.
far in advance. Yeah. So this is a way for them to establish themselves a little bit more. And if they have the events in really apt places before the cutoff for the major, their events are going to get eyeballs because of that. Right, they're because like, oh shit, this team versus this team, and it could get them a spot in the major. And when you look at it, like if we looked at it right now, let me just bring up the ranking as it stands right now, who teams start to feel that it's still interesting names, right? Liquid, 3D Max, Astralis, Foot, Paravision, NIP, Heroic. Am I the right ranking? Valve ranking, yeah.
You are.
Yeah. NIP, Heroic, Passion, Pain, Saw, NRG, M80, Gamer Legion, Imperial. These aren't like nobodies. Obviously, they're not the absolute best Counter-Strike teams in the world, but you're still going to have a nice amount of variety. The event, the match is going to mean something. So I think this is a interesting yet good decision from StarLadder. I like it.
I mean, tier 2 Counter-Strike is actually really fun, and you know. I would say. I mean, this is okay. Here we go. Here's a very baseless claim. Maybe my first baseless claim of 2026. But as someone who's in the esports scene but doesn't pay heavy attention to other games, but when I do dabble, I feel like most other esports have a really struggling tier 2 circuit, especially the ones that are like the closed, like the Riot closed circuits. I think their tier 2 like scene, amateur scene, gets damaged by it being so top heavy. I think Counter-Strike is one of the few esports where I feel like there's actually a healthy and thriving tier 2 circuit of teams and players filtering in and out.
Look, it's hard to
baseless
gauge.
because none of us are going to be able to say anything about.
I don't watch anything else. So.
It's not
exactly.
baseless,
That's why
but it's of course going to be that way when you have an open circuit compared to a franchise league. I mean, you know, in league there's region-based leagues that are like. The top of the region, and then there's maybe something in below, maybe academy, maybe this, maybe that, but it's no real. I think for a while they had something where they tried it didn't really pan out, whether in NA or EU or whatever. Valorant, they have 3 tournaments a year or some shit. Like, does that even count as a scene at this point in time? But that's why just the nature of our circuit allows for it. And yeah, I think for StarLadder, probably realizing they aren't quite there to run tier 1 events on a consistent basis. I mean, even the one in September before the major, they had to cut down on what it was originally supposed to be. They were even supposed to have an event in June or late May that they canceled. So they've been really scaling down on what was some of the initial announcements. So probably a smart decision to sort of get back into it slowly with some of these tier 2 events, like get into the swing of things. Make sure you have all the staff. Like, it's for a major, you can always get a lot of freelance staff to fill in some of the gaps, whether it's production, whether it's league ops, whether it's
they had a lot of freelancers in the major.
You know, so obviously you can't, that's very expensive to do for every single event that you run. You want to train those people in-house and have your own employees being able to do that. So this might be a way for those people to get some experience, to get trained and whatnot, so that moving forward, and like you pointed out, you have to announce these events so far in advance. I think, though, there's definitely room in the calendar, considering, you know, I don't know what's going to happen with Fissure. We all heard or read the report or the news article and whatnot. That they're
said some naughty things, didn't he?
Yeah, with their funding as well. So I think there's still room, even though you have Blast and PGL and ESL. I think there's still room for someone else to run events at certain points in the calendar. So yeah, I don't know the stake thing. That means they'll have to be on Kick. Right? Like,
I would imagine.
Twitch.
I'd imagine it's Kick exclusive.
So I mean,
it's going to hurt the viewership a little bit, but
but
I mean, it's not StarLadder's problem. That's mostly.
But
Kick's
it's good
problem.
because some of the one of the main complaints with these open lands and then the tier 2 events is, there's unproven TOs, the conditions and whatnot. You do feel that StarLadder is going to have that under wraps compared to some of these other tournaments that we're seeing.
Yeah, well, there's people because I didn't really do any podcasting. I didn't do any podcasting post the major, right? I think I did one quickly with Prof and Striker, but that was more talking about the finals more than like big picture with the major and everything. It was good to see people like Jane and Roman and stuff again. And they've got Panda working for him. He couldn't be there, but Panda's working for them in the back end. And then there's the whole Nordvin to acquisition, and then I learned a little bit more about that and kind of how that's functioning, talking to Merlin a little bit and stuff. So there's a lot of players who we remember from StarLadder who are still involved in different areas. And, if they can slowly get a footing back in, which is hopefully what this does for them, I think it was also a bit of a shock to see how much things cost now compared to when they were last running events in 2019. Right? Things have continued to go up in that regard across the board, whether that's the money that the tournament management gets paid or, just general costs. So I think it'd be good, but I like the way that they're handling it, right? If they go about this and they can get themselves cemented this year, and then, okay, maybe they can start pitching something for the 22 months in advance, what it has to be. So we see more of them in the future, and then they can get an opportunity to maybe, pitch for majors again and stuff like that. We're always going to get smaller lands it's not even smaller land. I'm pretty sure there's a CAC one in there for $1 million just before the major, which is tough. I don't think many teams are going to attend that because the cutoff's already going to be there, but it's $1 million. I'm pretty sure it's $1 million prize pool. You bang on about the Fisher stuff. We haven't really had an update on that, if anything's going to happen, because they had Shenzhen they announced, and then we know that they were moving their operations back to Russia and stuff. So that might leave some voids in the calendar. I think overall, though, it is good to see that after this EPL season 23, all of the ESL events will be back on LAN. Like EPL season 24 will be fully LAN again, so we don't have to worry about any of that nonsense. I think it's just Blast Bounty that starts online, and that's, I guess you could argue, because of the sheer amount of teams. Just think it's a shit format. But as long as we can get rid of Tier 1 Counter-Strike and having these fucking online portions, I think we're laughing. We're starting to head back in the right way. Sure, we can have the qualifiers online, but the top 16 onwards, in my opinion, we need to be having them on LAN. It'd be nice. It'd be nice to do that. So, I wanted to bring up the StarLadder one. Because I just saw that in the news the other day. The other one as well, and this was a big conversation we were having last year, that it probably continued for the first 4, 5, 6 months, right, was about the Cabal all kind of coming together to boycott PGL events until they would do the club share as part of their prize money so that the orgs were able to benefit from going to those events. Now, I think the way that I'm approaching this now is from a point of semantics, because for a general viewer, the prize money, regardless of club share or straight to the player, is the prize money, right? It's not my business, if I was just a normal fan, where that money's going, right? These are companies that pay these guys high salaries. I understand all of those details only because I work within the space that is something that is a conversation point for me, or even a thought process for me. But when I look at prize pool now, I just think the overall prize pool. I'm not looking at club reward versus fucking player prize money. I'm just looking at what is the prize money offered. Either way, that's a sidebar to all of this. PGL have 9 of the top 10 teams who are going to be attending Cluj, which I think is great, because I got to be at Cluj last time, and I think it was a nice turnout. Hopefully this time it drives a couple more people there to watch in the venue. And it was a good event, even though it didn't have any of the top teams last time around. Mouse ended up winning it over Falcons within that final. Vitality are going to be there, which is the first time they've ever attended a PGL event outside of a major, so that's really cool. And it'll be interesting down the road of the season to see how many more teams start attending PGL events. Like Astana, I think, has a $1.6 million prize. It's the second highest prize pool in the calendar outside of EWC.
That's wild. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. So, and I think Astana's what they're banking on as being their big one.
Yeah. You could tell it seems like they want to put a lot of emphasis on Astana as a new kind of like home event almost for PGL.
Well, it's overlapping with Atlanta, and if you're a Navi or a Spirit, surely you're going to Astana over Atlanta.
Well, they went last year, and it wasn't even fully overlapping, and they just went with that over Dallas at the time. So, I think you'll definitely see those teams be in Astana. For some of the others, might be a bit more interesting. Then it comes back to some of the incentives that ESL still has, in regards to the viewership and whatnot. Like Also, I mean, ESL handled it smartly in the sense of for these smaller IEMs, the club prize pool is the bigger share of the prize pool.
Yeah.
So that incentivizes the orgs to go to those events. But I mean, with 1.6 mil, depending on how you break down the prize pool, I'm not sure how the math would work out. But the Astana last year was great. I'm real happy that all these teams will be in Cluj. I think they've realized also, I mean, it's basically Cluj and Krakow is the two most important ones for the major in terms of the invites and where you get, what is it, April 1st?
I made a timeline for this.
There's only Pro League left out of the big ones, and Pro League is a good chunk of it is online for this one. So that really lowers how much you can gain / lose in terms of the points. So it will be exciting to see the PGL event for the first time with all these tier 1 teams. It will be the first one for Vitality too. Maus, the defending champions. I actually asked their chief business development officer, Jan. I was like, because I hosted the panel on the CS economy, and I was like, you guys got around 400,000 USD from Blast and ESL's incentive structure, which is, the first place prize at a PGL event from which you skipped all of them, but the one that you actually went and won, in the sense. So, is there maybe a thought process behind that, maybe attending more of those events to offset and he said, I think we had a great time at PGL, yada, yada, yada. I think we'll definitely attend some more of their events this year, and already they're at Cluj, so you're thinking it's going to be something else in there. And maybe we see a shift in some of these teams in which TO's events they accept and which they decline.
I mean, I think last year, probably exposed to a lot of teams how important it is to be able to game the VRS system out. Right? Like there were a lot of teams who were able to have a lot easier of a time with their scheduling because they were able to kind of organize things in advance and pick and choose and be a little bit more targeted. And you see teams like 3D Max who didn't really do the targeting in Aurora in the first season as well, and both of them just being completely fucking burnt out by just kind of going through the entire gamut of events instead of having a more strategic approach to the calendar. So I have to imagine, I think some of those politics we always knew were going to disappear when the strength of the qualification actually kind of kicked into gear,
I think that there's a bit of a different story though when you're a top team, right? I had a good conversation with Jack, Apex, and Fl0m about this just the other day with Vitality, and it's like they're like, if you just consider top 5 teams and your entire goal is, we know your entire goal, but one of the main focuses is to make sure that you qualify for the major as a stage 3 team, right? But outside of that, it's about picking and choosing events so you're not overly burnt out. Which ones can you win?
Yes.
So that is different for, I would say, maybe it's more than the top 5, but let's just run with the top 5 and say those teams, as long as they don't move too much. And then from 6 to 12, they're in another bubble. And then it also depends regionally. If you're the Mongols or if you're an America's team, it's slightly different too. But then from a 13 onwards, then it's okay, shit, we definitely don't want to be stage 1, or we don't want to drop out and not have it. So everyone's strategy is going to come in different points. And I think that's one of the real interesting things. So getting to talk to Vitality about what their strategy was, from what I could glean, they're going to skip EPL, right? Because of that online stuff that Yanko mentioned. For them, it'll be 3 consecutive events, right? So I'm paraphrasing right now, but from what I took from it, Blast Bounty would be essentially a warm-up event. They were saying that officials are the best practice. They don't want to go into Krakow without any practice. So Bounty is their kickoff to get some officials underway. Then from there, obviously Krakow, and I said, okay, so this is a new location now. Do you still look at this the same grandeur as Katowice? And they said yes, right? So for them, also with the Grand Slam, they need this to be able to win the Grand Slam before the major, right? Otherwise, they will have to win it at the major.
Win the major.
If they win,
It'd be a cool place to win it, though.
It would. It'll also influence other parts of their season, right? Because if they're not going to go to EPL and they want to win the Grand Slam, they will have to go to one of Rio or Atlanta, maybe both, if they want to make sure they're still in for the revenue share. I don't know how many ESL events they can skip in that conversation. And then like you see after the date that Yanko was talking about, which you just had a look, it's the 6th of April, after the major cutoff date, then you want to make sure that you're still attending events to stay in shape and winning, but you want to make sure you leave yourself enough time off before the major itself so you can have time off and boot camp. They were talking about how much time they take off. This was the Vitality guys, and how many pracs in a day and this, that, and the other. And I think it was really insightful to see. Obviously, it's team by team and every team's going to be different. But this is one of my more favored things at the moment in the space is looking at how teams of different statuses are going to navigate the VRS, right? Because for some of them, like FlyQuest could have gone to Bounty, but because it's online, it's not worth it. They've gone to some event in China.
Fair enough.
Right. It's not worth it for them to play an online game against a high-ranked team and then lose and get no points. They've gone, okay, let's go to China and let's get some LAN wins. So
there's always a LAN in China, baby.
Hey, yeah, that's one thing you could bank on.
That's what they always say.
That is what they always say. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, that's that. The reason I bring this up is I think it's interesting that the attitudes have changed, and PGL deserve to have the best teams there. They're only missing Spirit. So good on them for getting that at Cluj. Cluj should be fun. And Yankee, you mentioned the club share for Astana. It's 256 first for players, and it's 256 for club. So that's
for last one or this one?
This one coming.
Okay, it's already out. All right.
Yeah. So it's 50-50 the whole way down. So like if you come 8th, it's $8,000 for the players, and it's $8,000.
Here's
for
the
club.
thing. Here's one more, man. Spirit's not going to be there. It's the only team from the top 10, from the top, I don't know how many, it's them and Liquid that aren't attending it. And that's you robbing Donk of opportunities to compete against the best and be put in a conversation, for best player.
Yeah.
And whatnot. And I don't know, like Spirit is an interesting one, how they approach it, because there's not a lot of veterans on that team. You imagine looking at the team, there's not, I imagine, much that they do outside of playing, right? Like they're going to be there and grind. He's just going to play 10 Faceit games. Not 10, whatever, 5, 6 Faceit games instead of practicing on that day that you're giving him time off. I get it, like you don't want to overburden yourself and you want to leave time to practice, and Magix is coming in as a new IGL, but it's just sometimes a little bit curious, I guess, how they pick and choose events.
Well, you would assume that then they'll play EPL, right? Whereas some of these other teams who are doing Cluj, we know Vitality likely going to skip it. I think there'll be other names who are going to skip EPL as well because of the online portion. And then after EPL, what is it? Is it Rotterdam after EPL? Let me have a look here.
Rotterdam? What the hell is in Rotterdam?
Blast Open. So Blast Open's going to Rotterdam. Yeah, so they will have their studio stuff in Copenhagen, and then the playoffs will be in Rotterdam. Then after that will be Bucharest, which will be a studio event. That'll be during the cutoff. So that event, I think a lot of teams might skip because this is just a studio event in PGL in Romania. And you can't really benefit from that event other than prize pool, right? It is still 1.25 million, but you can only benefit from prize pool. So it could be a time to take a bit of a break. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see. Like this is what all these teams are going to have to pick and choose from, because from there it's into Rio. There's a Fisher event here, but we don't know if it's going to happen or not. There's Blast Rivals, which is going to be in the US. Then you've got Astana. Then you've got Atlanta, which is overlapping with Astana. Then there's that CAC event, which is, I told you guys, $1 million, which is crazy. 16-team event from May 19th to 24th, and then the major starts on the 2nd of June. So I guess if you're a stage 3 team, you could go to China and just like rack up a big prize pool and then still get a decent break, but it's a lot of travel and shit. So there's a lot of thoughts going into all of this for this season coming up. It's
like maybe the Mongols will go if they're, still a stage 3 team by that point in time, or someone similar. I mean, there's still value in it. I think it's only teams and orgs that are, I wouldn't say stage 3, but contenders, right? Like the teams that feel like they have a realistic chance of lifting the trophy that will put their all chips in the major basket, right? Otherwise, like, why not take advantage of the opportunity that those teams won't be there and go lift the trophy yourself or set yourself up for a great second half of the year in terms of the invites and whatnot.
There's money to be made. I think that's the other thing, right? Like there's so much money flying around. That was another part of this timeline that I was doing up is, let's see if I'm logged in here. What is it? I included the Fisher prize money because they haven't officially cancelled their events yet, right? So it's weird to just be like, oh, they're not happening, even though they're announced. So I just erred on the side of caution there and went with the fact that it would still be happening. Let me see if I can open this up. But I like tallied up all the prize money over the
whole year.
Yeah, over the year.
That's going to be something gross, isn't it?
Fuck, why can't I move around this thing?
Give me a guess, Diego. What do you think prize money for all 2026 is going to look like? Where you putting it? I almost want to say like
40 million.
Yeah, I was thinking like 30, 32 is what
Between
I was gonna go
35
with.
and 40.
Okay, well, I've kind of fucked up here. I do have all the prize monies, but I don't have a total of it all. I turn them into graphs. So, like for example,
Is it a
over the course-
spreadsheet? Can you do it quickly, or do you have to add it up in a calc?
Yeah, I'd have to add it up in a calc, but I can do this for you, right? So, like it's. Let's save it. I'll get the hard data
Throw it into
later.
Grok, man. Just throw the numbers into Grok and say what's the
He's
total of all these
calculating
numbers.
it. He's
Doesn't matter.
calculating it right
Use
now.
AI for this
Jason.
shit.
I'm way ahead of you.
But you have to be careful because the problem with the AI stuff is it doesn't take into consideration all of the prize money correctly. Some of the stuff it does wrong is it doesn't include like club share or something like that. So it can cause a couple of issues. Like for example,
Just give us a ballpark.
I can add these figures right here. I'll just do this. Grok, my favorite AI. He's the coolest. Add
Mr. Grok
these
to you at home.
Figures together. So he's adding them up right now, guys.
doing a good job.
27,250,000. So obviously that's not including the revenue share or Grand Slam or frequent flyers or anything along those lines. That's just prize money. And like I said earlier, that is including club share as well as prize money. Like I've just included it all as one thing. So the majors have 2.5 million. What I did was I separated those from the TOs because it's Valve who pays for that. So the majors have 2.5 million. Blast is offering 6.5 million across their 6 events. ESL is offering 6.5 million across their 6 events, right? They'd have 7, but the major's not included in that. PGL are offering 5.35 over their 4 events. Right, it's Bucharest, Cluj, Astana. Yep. CAC are offering 1 million. StarLadder are offering 500,000. Thunderpick are offering 500,000. EWC are offering 2 million, and Fisher is offering 2.4. So that's the
Fisher
price.
wasn't likely to change. Yeah.
Yeah, but I included it anyway.
No, it's fun. Yeah, it's good to include for now.
So that's the cash that's up for grabs for teams in 2026. That's over the course of the whole year, obviously. So yeah, there's a bit of money out there. All right, should we get into the roster changes?
We should get into the roster changes. Yes, sir.
Okay. I don't think we bother going through all of them. I think we just go through the big ones that are on your minds.
Yeah. Yeah, probably.
What's the big one? There has to be a big one on you. Or are you just a bit underwhelmed? This is why I was saying on HLTV Confirmed, we shouldn't call it a fucking roster mania. It's just an off season.
No.
It's just an off season.
Well, I guess that's part of the conversation, though. Is like, I guess.
Are you underwhelmed?
I mean, it's not a matter of being underwhelmed. You know, like I'm not really underwhelmed in the sense that I had like expectations and I wanted to see things blown away.
I had expectations. I wanted to be blown away.
But I guess what's more interesting to me is like the random little the little chatter that I feel like I've heard like a little bit and seen publicly, and I don't know how true it is, but it sounds like it could very well be true, is that a lot of the reason why a lot of these bigger roster changes and more changes aren't happening is just shit's too fucking expensive. Buyouts are too fucking expensive, and nobody has the money to make a move.
That's not a surprise, though.
But I don't know. Like that's the thing. Like I've just kind of seen it from the outside. I feel like a lot of that news like broke at HLTV Awards. So I haven't actually talked to any teams about this. It doesn't surprise me at all. And I mean, I think with the way this scene has gone last year, where we've seen so many TOs restricting in terms of cash flow, and so many things like so many places trying to like cut expenses out. We're starting to see that hit the industry and the scene in a lot of different areas, and players are always going to be the last one to feel that. But for me, this seems like if this is true, this is kind of the first way in which like the budget cuts and the scene contracting is starting to affect the player ecosystem. You know what I mean? Like it's starting to finally reach into that realm.
I think yes and no. Like obviously, there's the impact of the belt tightening, but also the offerings of which type of players are worthy of trades, right, is another point. It's like, okay, so this guy who's a good player, but maybe not an elite or great player, is priced out based on what we'd be willing to pay for what we think he can offer, right? I think that, yeah. But this is, I guess, the way that I would liken this is maybe what Brazil has been experiencing for a long time.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, well, we want Insani, but we can't justify that amount of money. It's like, we want PR, but we can't justify that amount of money, right? Like, it's not that these players aren't good or don't want to be true. It's just that it's a combination of...
You're good, but you're not 500,000
You're not
plus
Monacy,
salary good.
You're not Donk, right? You're not Zaiwu.
Yeah.
So is it like, okay, well, we want to make this trade, but we can't. Or we want to make this trade, but is it... How much of an upgrade is it? Is it 10%? 20%? Right, at that point, you want to be like, it's a 75% upgrade. Yeah, okay, now we'll spend the money. But if it's hard or negligible, or you don't think it's going to have a massive impact, then yeah, the thing that I think is interesting about this is the ones that were going to make changes or were rumored to make changes, then not making changes, and the impact that'll have of the players in the team.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Wait, say that sentence again really quick.
He said he means like players that, you wanted to cut them, but you couldn't because you couldn't find a replacement for them. And now they're still on the roster, right? I think, I'm really shocked that some of these teams could not find a way to make a change. Like, okay, I was going to say Mouse first, because that was my prediction at the half point last year. If they don't win a tournament by the end of the year, they have to change something. And because of their inability to do so, they're just sticking around with the roster. And I mean, someone will always come and say, hey, but they were the second best or the third best team of the year or whatever. They were the only ones to challenge Vitality and so on and so forth, right? Like, but it feels like if they could have solved it with the current 5, it would have been solved by now, right? So that's why I feel they need to make a change. Navi is another name. I mean, considering their 2024 compared to 2025, right? I mean, something's got to give. So it is worrying the fact that more of these teams didn't make changes. And I wouldn't just put it on the buyouts, because buyouts are when we talk about, let's say blue chip players or already proven players, which of course is who you primarily want. But, how about scouting someone and finding a player who's maybe not as expensive, maybe not on a tier 1 organization at the moment? Yeah, I mean, Molodoi is an easy answer, right? But I'm sure there's value in other places as well. I liked the fact that Madden got another opportunity with Fnatic. I think that's a good sort of fit for both parties in a way. But yeah, if you want specific roster changes, can we talk about the biggest abomination of a roster that I've seen in a very long time?
Oh dear.
BC.Game.
Oh, well, yeah, you're starting with a headline roster immediately.
He's coming out swinging.
Yeah, okay. So it is interesting. Is interesting a good way to depict it? Yeah, so for those people who missed it, I don't know how you did. Simple and electronic, playing with mutiris, Aragorn, and krazy. Who goes first?
And Taz? And Taz?
And Taz back as a coach in BC.Game out of all teams.
But who goes first? mutiris, Aragorn, or krazy?
None of them. They need him for the major. It's the only way they're getting there.
They don't need him for the major. They just need to get a certain amount of matches under their belt, and then they can start peeling these pieces apart.
Mutiris and electronic as IGL.
I fucking hate this shit. I hate this fucking buy the core, get fucking fuck this shit.
How much was it, Chad? What was the number?
Those three are on death row.
What was the number?
Dude.
What number?
The rumor that they bought them out for. It was on Reddit the other day.
It was like an overdrive rumor, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, was it?
I can check his Telegram.
A lot of people dismiss overdrive stuff. Obviously, I think he's probably in a similar position.
You got to take it all, like anyone. You take it all with a grain of salt. There's going to be some truth to it, and there's going to be some things that aren't going to be true to it.
Well, I think that he probably hears things like we hear things, and then how true they are. It depends on how good your source is, or it's also could change. Like I heard that Jimmy was going to Falcons, and that changed, didn't it? So
2.5 million.
I just found that. Yeah.
That's why it works, Jason, because someone offers 2.5 mil for the core of Saw.
Yeah, no, I mean, I understand why it works. I hate fucking teams doing this shit. I think it's so gross. Like to
but
just
we get to see
buy
Simple
this
again.
I don't give a shit, dude. Like I just don't. I don't
You really
fucking give a
don't.
shit. Like,
keep
don't get
letting
me
us
wrong.
know
Like,
that.
I don't mind seeing simple again. I hate that it's this way. Like, this is the same shit now that we're going back. I don't know. Fuck, like, it's. By the way, like, this is actually one of my favorite roster changes. I think this is going to be. This is so fucking dumb. But this is going to be such a car crash. I feel like. Like,
would
how many
Taz
times?
ever
How many
accept
times
that?
have
Why
we
would you ever-
seen?
Why would
You
you
know,
ever
like
accept
when we've
that
watched
job
Saw
as a
play.
coach?
Haven't you seen like around here and there? And this is not meant to be like any hardcore criticism. Mutiris is a boomer. He has some rounds now and again where it feels like he just like loses track of what he's doing inside the game. If Simple ever fucking sees that,
Well, he will be seeing it.
he's just gonna light the fucking guy up. Aragorn and Krazy are just gonna get reamed out by Electronic and Simple. Like their lives are gonna be fucking ruined after this. I don't know if you're Taz, why you would accept this job, but I guess at the same time it maybe is the best place. People wanted him to be a fucking like criticize him for being a vibes coach. He's got to come here and only be a vibes coach. Like he's just gonna have to babysit the emotional state. This team is gonna explode at some point, and it's not even gonna get the results they're after.
We finally found someone, Jason.
I'm not
who
even
accepted
angry,
the
but I don't
worst
know why I
position that-
sound angry. I'm not even that angry, but I hate it.
It's too good.
This
How good
team
is it?
has become just like a combination of all the things I hate about the VRS.
Well, okay. Look. Look,
But on the bright side, Eyeballer just beat FaZe. So.
yeah, I saw that too. What's worse, Eyeballers beating FaZe to start off FaZe's season after being in the Major Grand Final, or Simple playing in Krakow? I think Simple and Krakow could be fun. Whether or not it's going to net any results, no, but we got
We know
Simple in
Jason's
Krakow.
answer.
Yeah, but he can't be
Okay,
a
tell me something
curmudgeon.
different. Give me why. Tell me why I'm believing in this team. Somebody,
I'm not
somebody
saying
go.
to believe, Jason. It's like you're not going to go watch NSYNC or fucking the Backstreet Boys seriously. But if someone gave you a couple tickets and said, "Yo, Jason, free drinks, we got a booth, Backstreet Boys is going to be performing, JT is going to be there. Do you want to head along and have a watch?" You'd be like, "Yeah, why not?" You know, you don't love them, but you'll go.
Mate, I'm not going to a fucking BC game. You can give me free tickets, front row. You can give me fucking signed to everything. I'm not going.
Come on, Jason.
I know, like, I mean,
Have
okay.
a little bit of fun. It doesn't all. Not everybody can win.
I am. I'm going to have fun watching. This is how I described it at
Don't
Fl0m's
say
thing.
it, Jason.
I was like, this is why people watch NASCAR. They want to see the fucking car crash.
When
I'm
Simple
gonna watch
comes for
BC
you on
game.
social media, I'm not defending you.
Dude, I'm not trying to be a dick. I want Simple. I want Simple to do good. I want him to succeed. This is not the way. It's not.
There was no other way, Jason.
It's not
There
the
was
way.
there was no other way. This
This
is
is
the
not
only
it.
way.
This is not fucking it. No one can tell me this is it. Nobody can say this was the grandmaster plan.
It was the only way to get Simple back into. So you know what they did? BC.Game probably promised Simple that they get him back into the circuit for 2026 or something, and then they had to buy someone.
Right. I know that, and I understand it, and that's I don't. This part isn't meant to be like a criticism so much of like BC.Game or Simple or even BC.Game of them picking up this core. I just hate that this is like an acceptable way to go about things. This is why if we talk about another roster change, 100 Thieves, I'm disappointed in like the roster to an extent that they've been put together, but I love the way they're going about it. I don't know the names. I think it's a little bit underwhelming for what I expected when you have Rain, when you bring Device in, but I think building it in this way is the right way to go about it, and it's going to achieve better long-term results. I think this way that BC.Game has gone about it is going to give you a nice short-term spurt, and then I don't think it's going to give you anything you can build into.
You can't neglect
It's like we just
Jason.
got back into the circuit, but it's not the future. Like, do we expect all three of those players to be in this team at the end of 2026?
No, not at all.
No, but
So what are we doing?
You neglect the fact that this is like we've seen only Falcons do this really in the same manner, right? So it
Heroic
requires.
did it with Sangao.
And I've hated it when Falcons
Yeah,
did it too. It's
but they
not
did
like
it-
specific to BC.Game. You know,
Yeah,
I'm not like trying to pile on this
I know.
situation.
My point is just it's really expensive to do this. Like that's why it doesn't happen
Yeah.
often, and when it does, it costs a lot of money, and that's why it's worth to the team
It
that's
does
selling
happen
the core.
often, though. It does happen often.
Not as much. Not to this
They were all
extent.
those things were triggered by Falcons. So first with the Ents core,
Yeah.
right? Then with the Heroic core that allowed Heroic to then pick up the Sangal core, right? And now it's outside of Falcons initiating that cycle with teams that were directly connected to it. It's only now that BC.Game did it with Saw, as far as I remember from the top of my head. So that's why I like.
I'd have to go back and look as well.
You know, but for example, the 100 Thieves thing on the other side of things is like exactly what I was thinking about when talking about some of these other tier 1 teams. And, you know, I understand that it's a risk, but doing nothing is also a risk. I mean, you were mediocre, right? Or you didn't fulfill the goals that you had, right? So not making a change is also like you're going to come in and the coach and the staff, everyone's going to give a pep talk and you're going to talk about all this different shit. But deep down, like, you're the same team, you know? And I'm sure they've tried a lot of different things over the course of the season. And for 100 Thieves, it's interesting. I don't necessarily mind it because you have Rain, who's going to be an IGL for the first time in his career. Glaive, his first coaching gig. Device, who needs to, you know, kind of prove himself to some extent. And then Poyagil and Sirah, who all have some of the positives, right? Obviously, you never know how they're all going to mesh together. That's where a lot of the team building work comes in. With Graham behind the wheel, you know they're going to put themselves in the best possible position to climb the rankings, right? At the end of the day, no matter how you structure it, you got to win games. You know,
exactly.
Whichever way you do it, you're going to have to be able to win games. And then there's going to come a point where you're going to have to be able to beat some of these tier 2 teams, whether online or deep in some of these open lands. And, you know, I think that could be doable for them. It's going to depend on a lot of different factors, but it's an interesting project to go for in 2026, right? And I talked to Graham a little bit at the awards. And he said he definitely, one of the reasons was, first of all, they couldn't, you know, core. It became apparent it's not really possible.
Didn't want to spend the money, or
because there wasn't, you know, a super quality core they could get for a reasonable amount. And then they were like, "What's the point?" Like you said, Jason, and he feels that with the amount of open lands and some of these LAN tournaments, that actually it is a viable approach to just build from scratch. And climb the rankings that way.
Yeah, the only thing with the 100 Thieves choices is, and I imagine it's been signed off that it's okay for them to go about it in this way. Otherwise, they wouldn't have done it, right? But I remember when 100 Thieves left Counter-Strike last time. And I hate it when these orgs come in and then depart in the way that they do. So I'm hoping that they've been given enough rope to be like, all right, we guarantee you 2 years. You've got the first 6 months to try and get yourself on the cusp of being in the circuit. As Janko said, you need to get some wins. And then once you're there, then we're going to need to see some good performances coming forward for that. When I look at the players that they put into this team, right, you can talk all day about, you know, does Device have anything left in the tank? How's Rain going to go as an in-game leader? It's obviously about Sirah and Poi. Right, because those are the gambles. And I was just looking at some of the positions for these guys on their old teams of Ecstatic and Alliance, and there's some overlap here of positions with these two. So are these two going to be the star riflers that they're going to pair up in, you know, for some of these aggro spots? Like how's that balance going to work? And you're going to get to see it in lower pressure environments where they have all the resources in the world. So it's a good position to be in, right? To be able to build the team. And it's also an experiment for the rest of the community to get to sit back and watch how easy or how possible, I suppose, it is to navigate the VRS and climb up if you make tactical choices over the events that you're attending. So that for me is probably the more exciting part and parcel of all this.
Yeah, that's actually the most interesting part to me too, is watching the way Graham is going to target which events they want to play in.
You
so
could see some of the early discussions about these open qualifiers and then the way Valve, so your results don't count until your points don't count until the main event concludes, and the qualifiers for Rio are like now, soonish.
They're pretty soon. I think this is something that we need to flag to Valve to change.
Yeah, and then their points would, like, by the time they would get awarded the points, they would have decayed so much where doesn't really make sense in that way. So
I'll be right back, boys. Keep going.
Yeah, okay. So I think, Janko, you and I are probably on the same page. This is something that we definitely need to get Valve's attention about, right? Because I think Graham, when I did the panel the other day, pointed out what the negativity or the negative side of that could be is you kind of want to make sure that the event is actually going to happen, because if this starts happening for all qualifiers, and let's say you and I put on an event and we say, oh yeah, you know, we're doing $1 billion prize pool, and then we only run the online qualifiers, and then teams are generating whatever kind of impact in the VRS because of that, and then the actual main event never happens, then the perceived benefit is not the actual benefit to the circuit. So that within itself is a problem, and I understand the safeguard that Valve would want to maintain with that. But there needs to be a better way, because you don't want these qualifiers to be avoided because they might have negative ramifications. You want teams to be contending for this type of stuff, especially now. I saw that ESL announced like multiple webcams might be required for teams who are playing these online games, which is great. We do need to see that. Yeah, that should be good. But all in all, I think, you know, we have a lot to monitor this year. We know there's going to be teething issues with the VRS. Things are continuing to grow and build. And I think this is cool that 100 Thieves are doing this, a team with resources. If it, you know, I know it's different from maybe just if you can fly your team around the world to a 10 like a Philadelphia or something along those lines, you're in a really strong spot. And that's what we saw NIP be able to do last season and stuff. So we'll get to monitor this. But do you want to move on from this?
You mean the VRS or the roster changes?
Yeah, to some of the roster changes.
Yeah,
like,
it's fine.
Obviously, Vitality, Fury, Falcons, Mouse, FaZe, they didn't make anything. Mongols, I thought Senzu was going to come back. After I saw him appear on the Mongolian version of The Tonight Show or the David Letterman Show, whatever the fuck it was, I thought, oh, Senzu's going to come back. He's with the boys. You know, I've seen him put a couple of Instagram stories out there that's, you know, it's, you know, classic signaling Instagram stories that, you know, like a recharge, all that type of stuff. I was like, oh, he's going to come back. That's great. Like, Senzu's had his time off and now he's going to rejoin. But I can understand why the team might want to go a different direction, because he's already kind of disappeared on you once. They've gone for this Cobra Zero guy who was playing in the Huns. So we got to see a little bit of him against some international opponents throughout the year. So I haven't looked deeply into him, right? And what we're going to get, but we saw them already be able to do it with controllers to a degree until they made it to the playoffs, and then he kind of just, you know, returned to the mean. So we'll see what that means for Mongols. And then outside of that, right, Na'Vi didn't make a change. The spirit change is the most interesting changes. I think that goes without a doubt, surely, right? Yeah.
I mean,
they're the main changes.
And they're the main ones in terms of they're the highest profile team to make a change. And obviously the one with Chopper came kind of out of, I think this way one. Yeah, I think this way one was predictable, like that Zontic was going to come back for Zway, but Chopper and Magix coming into the IGL role, that's a bit of a shocker, because, you know, Magix never was in the role. So I guess it comes down to maybe them thinking they need some more firepower, because I would, you know, put Magix over Chopper.
In that department, yeah. But you were talking about their T sides before, right? You would have to imagine that there's going to be some form of a change or restructuring there, right? I feel like this might free Tanir up a little bit. Actually, how are they gonna balance things, right? Because it changes overall. Magix could take a lot of. Well, he's going to have to take anchor positions. Does Zontics go back to short on Mirage? Does he anchor A then? Does Tanir get the A anchor position and Zontics just goes back to what he was doing when he was on the team? There's a lot of questions in those regards with the maps. And obviously Anubis is another one that we haven't touched on as well coming in. And that's kind of a bit of a boon there for Spirit, because they weren't playing a lot of Train. So that also starts to become a little bit of a conversation for them as well. I think that overall it's exciting because you still have Donk and Shiro there. So it's like, okay, well, you've brought Zontics back, who we never really learnt why he got benched in the first place. The stories that came out from the camp didn't feel the most reliable, or that they had like a solid foundational base behind them. But it's, you know, I think it's good to get him back.
Yeah, for me, it felt the vibe that I got from it wasn't Counter-Strike reasons. It was more outside of Counter-Strike, whether it's, you know, medical, personal, whatever it may be, that, you know, it wasn't that they were unhappy with his performance or that he didn't fit well into the team. And we talked about it at the time, man. Changing one player, I think you had to change Magix for whomever, but changing two and having losing two guys who are very much experienced in tier 1 that you won with, that you've seen them perform in crunch time in these big moments, that was going to be the problem, and that's what it turned out to be outside of that one game against Falcons.
Yeah. Yeah, well, they're always there.
So I think it's huge, and I don't know. I think it's also telling us it was pretty much, and I think we knew this, that it was Hallie's team, right? And that's the way in which they were playing, and that Magisk is going to do the same in terms of like Brolin is in Mouse, where he's going to try to execute his ideas on the server, and you have other guys who can help out with some calls. They were talking about Tanir bringing a little bit of spice in that department, helping with the mid rounds at times. So we'll see. This is definitely them having the most firepower yet, and that's a team with Donk adding more firepower. So, but we saw how it can look when not everything fits together well, right? And
sure,
maybe you're lacking in
there's a bit of an inexperience factor when you had both Zwei and Tanir, especially at the highest levels, right? So that was a factor. Magix and Zontix don't have any issues with that.
This is the Shanghai major winning roster with
Tanir instead of Chopper,
right? Yeah. And Mag is being put into the IGL role. So you are arguing definitely there's more firepower on the team. It's just, as I said even before, it's much easier to be the best player on Heroic than it is to be the third best player on Spirit, right? And the different responsibilities that you have and the different levels of opposition that you're facing. And I think Tanir is a good player, and he'll, be better in 2026. I mean, it was also an adjustment period for him. So, yeah, you expect this to make Spirit a more dangerous team than they were last year.
It's just curious how quick they can get it together, right? Jason, what do you reckon with Spirit? Do you reckon they're going to hit the ground running? Obviously, it's bounty, so we're going to get to see a little bit of them later this week when they play their opening game. But like Janko's saying, it's just more firepower in this team. And obviously, the question mark is around Magix with the in-game leading. So are you expecting them to be one of the main contenders for Vitality? Because that's really what the conversation of 2026 is about. Who are going to be the main contenders for Vitality?
I don't know if it'll be immediate. I don't know if they're going to hit the ground running, but I think they should be competing with them, down the stretch in the season. I think there was one of two things are going to happen. I think you're going to see like a nice honeymoon period for like 1 to 2 events, and then you'll see some struggles as they kind of dip down and have to build back up, or you'll see them kind of start a little bit slow and just kind of progressively build into it. I don't think it's going to be a disaster. I don't think it's going to be incredible, for the entire season right out of the gate. But I think Magic's, I think that the first few events can be very easy for this team to feel very excited and very fresh and just kind of flow. You have Donk with a lot of freedom. You have Magix as an IGL who's going to get a lot of room and a lot of space and a lot of forgiveness from the team. I think, at some point we're going to see some struggles for sure. But the great thing for Magix is you have Donk, which is going to help hide a lot of those struggles. It's going to make it a lot easier to ease into this position and learn it as you go, because he just makes everything easier because he's fucking insane.
It's kind of funny, like Zontix and Magix, obviously Zontix got benched a little bit later, but for Magix, it's like when he went out, Anubis was still in the pool. And when Anubis did go out in the middle of the season. No, it went out at the start of the season, didn't it?
Start.
Yeah, the start. Okay, never mind. He only missed
Maybe it
6
was,
months
no,
worth
it was
of
there
Anubis.
for a couple of tournaments. I think in Kato
I'm pretty sure we went straight to train. Trade?
All right.
I'm pretty sure, because it was bounty first. And I think they went straight to train.
Because I think I remember a phase Vitality game on Anubis from Katowice. I want to look that up now.
Yeah, well, I might be wrong. But either way, I was
sorry.
really
I got to check on something really quick. Sorry, I told Chad before we went live I had some dog health issues this morning, so I'm just going to go keep an eye on them really quick.
Yeah, you're all right. Don't worry about it, Jason.
Anubis was still in the pool at Kato.
Was it?
Yeah.
I don't remember that at all. Are you sure?
100%.
I am. Katowice.
It was Overpass that
2025.
Train was also in the pool. It was Overpass for Anubis.
Overpass went in the middle of the year, though.
Yeah, for Anubis. That was the change. Train was already in
the start
pool.
of the year was Vertigo. So I was right. So Magix left when Anubis was still... Of course, because in the last major, I casted the phase game in the playoffs on Anubis. Yes, so Magix, when he went out, Anubis was still in the pool, and now he's back. Anubis is back in the pool. Yeah, so I was right. I doubted myself. Don't know why I did that, but Train came in to replace Vertigo. That's right. Okay, so never mind. We are where we need to be. I think like outside of that, obviously, Fury of Falcons, they stay like the threat for Vitality alongside of Spirit. I put those guys ahead of Mouse. And I was talking to Apex about this the other day, and I said, "Oh, are Mouse a threat?" And he's like, "Yeah, they are. Like people sleep on them and they don't want to hear it, but it's just because." They can give teams a hard time. There's no doubt about that. They can beat these teams. All these teams I just listed, they can beat them. Just not in a grand final, right? Yeah. That's the thing that matters, is to win the tournament, is to win that grand final. And with the potential resentment that might be within the team, with this whole Jimmy potentially going, not going situation. And then you also have the natural resentment that's going to build up with all the hard losses, you know, because as much as you want to review and make sure that you keep it the blame within the group or whatever, these things are still going to brew regardless. So I worry for Mouse. If they can come out still mentally strong, then props to them. They're going to need to keep proving us wrong until they eventually become
and
one of
there's
the
just a loss of trust, you know, and confidence and belief really in maybe or some of your teammates and whatnot when this keeps happening, right? And that's why roster changes happen, man, because it gives you that jolt as well of something being changed, something being different. Obviously everyone tries to avoid them, but sometimes that's the last resort. I think also it was funny seeing people now that Falcons didn't make a change. They were like, oh, why didn't they make a change, right?
Yeah.
When stability was the main issue for them ever since they started investing heavily into Counter-Strike. I, on one side, am happy that they didn't make a roster change.
You think they're close?
Well,
not
I think,
to a roster change to where they need to be.
Yeah. I think
Was
so.
that your door?
Yes. I think
I can solo podcast. I've done it before.
No. It's they're at the door waiting to open. Just it's pretty loud. I think, to reiterate what we've been saying about them the entire time, like they've improved with every tournament. They played good Counter-Strike, just not when it mattered the most. That's why they don't have a trophy in the second half of the year. But you know, it's the first season of Kyosukit Tier 1. It's the first season for Testis in these roles. It's the first season for Nico going back to some of the more lurky roles. It's the first full season for Monesi in the lineup, right? Like all these things matter, and I think not making a change also helps guys like, let's say, Tessis or Kixan to know, all right, like I'm not on the hot seat continuously, right? Like we're actually going to be given time to make this thing work, and you don't have to stress about, you know, winning immediately, or if you don't, or because you haven't won a trophy, you're going to be removed from the team. I think what you or Jason talked about in terms of it's also important to be a good teammate. You can't neglect that. And right, and being a mature person. I think that's you get all of that with Tessis. I think he's definitely a glue guy. In that sense, I think he's a skilled player, man. You just have to give him some time to get used to things in official, to learn how to play and find his space in the current sort of food chain. And you know, no one is irreplaceable. I mean, Nico had his worst year in a long time. I mean, probably his worst year ever since he hit Tier 1, and a lot of those poor performances came in grand finals and some important games, right? I mean, I'm not saying anything, but you don't imagine Falcons are gonna keep up with anyone, right? Like their goal is to become the best team in Counter-Strike. So everyone, in a sense, has to perform, and we know that no one is irreplaceable on that lineup.
We're just talking about it, Jason, just to bring you in about who the threats are to Vitality, right? So it was like Fury of Falcons, and then I said Spirit. I think Mouse are still, until Mouse prove otherwise, like we know they're a threat, and we know that they can
Mouse is a weird team,
on.
aren't they? You're like, we know you're a top 5 team, but you don't really feel like a threat in any significant way?
It's just they need to win trophies against the best teams. They need to beat Fury of Falcons, Vitality in the final, right? And then we can go, okay, then it's real, right? Because when they won Cluj, it was like, whatever, right? They won Cluj over Falcons, who had just kind of come together at that point in time. It's like, whatever.
You know who'd be one team that I hope this year would find a way to be able to challenge the top teams and potentially Vitality would be G2. Like, I wonder if there's room at the top for them to make a step forward or progress to a point where they could be dangerous, because they have some really cool pieces.
On them. I was very, very high on them.
I think you still can be. Is there something that like knocked it off for you?
I don't know if it knocked it off. I think it's just like they hit a good state early, and now it feels like they're working hard to just try and get back to that level. So they capitalized on Vitality, who was on that run of events coming out of the tournament break, right, to win London, which was a good win. That was a 3-2 final. You know, that was, and I think that was a bit of a statement win. And I really like a lot of the pieces on that team. Like I like mutiris. I like Heavy God a lot. I've always liked what Hunter's contributions are. A very smart player. Going out of the major in the 2-2 game to Falcons, that was a very, very intense game. And that's one that I kind of turned the corner on Nico and thought, okay, well, he knows now that he needs to be more of like a leader and keep his emotions together to pull everybody else up. But then I saw him return to normal in the playoffs. But at least he's on that right path. But for G2, I don't know if I'm not riding them out. It's just that whatever the success was that they found earlier, it doesn't feel like they're close to that right now. And they were another team that I thought maybe would be in the market to see who was out there. But if no pieces move, then maybe they thought, well, there's no point us even trying to change pieces. So look, I like G2 overall. I like Sora as a coach. I think he's good. Because like Na'Vi probably fall into a similar conversation point as a G2, right? Because we saw them at the major start to make a little bit more headway. And that was something that was more exciting when they make it all the way to the third, fourth, obviously losing a phase. They could have been in the grand final. So they saved their best Counter-Strike to last, I guess you could say, throughout 2025. So they're still in the conversation, right? It's just that they're also a team that there was murmurs of roster changes around. So is there any resentment that's built between the players in the team because of that? So that we won't know. Mongols kind of get a fresh start because now they go, okay, well, we actually have a player. FaZe just suffering this loss online. Something that I don't know if we want to start shifting into the conversation about bounty just yet, but it's something that I think is really important. And I haven't been listening to the broadcast, so I'm hoping that they've been genuine with the way that they are conveying the situation of this. But this, for the top teams, it's for all teams, but for the top teams more, is just a warm-up event, right? Like for FaZe, I think we all knew that it was a miracle run at the major. And a team like Eyeballers are much hungrier for a win than what FaZe are coming out of the break. It doesn't excuse a loss, but it definitely there's reasons, right, for why you're going to get some upsets within these online best of 3 games. And that's not to take anything away from Eyeballers. I think that's just to fairly surmise the scenario at hand. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get a couple of other upsets throughout the course of this with you know, what is it? The rest of the week worth of play. They play all the way up until Sunday, I'm pretty sure, with these online games. So just think it's important for people to keep that in context that this is online and it's the first event out of the break. Teams are not going to be at 100% right now. And I don't think they should be expected to be. I think it's fine for every event to mean something different. Some are warm-up events, some are we in shape events, some are we're trying to win this event, and those goalposts are going to shift for everybody. So yeah, it is pretty underwhelming with these roster changes, isn't it? Like Astralis brought in Fozy and Ryu. Like I thought Ryu was fine when I saw him before. But
did you guys do the go on. Yeah, go.
I was going to say that probably tells you about why Astralis seemed the way they did.
Oh yeah, we knew they were dead team,
on cams and everything that's going on. I don't know how to look at this roster though. Do I look at it as if this is now more of a Copenhagen Flames sort of a vibe to the team for someone like Hooksy too, right? Where he did some of his best work in a way, right? Like, was this the changes that needed to happen more so in people leaving than with people arriving to give them some fire and have some motivation? Or are the fact that the names are a little bit underwhelming sort of a sign of, you know, Astralis just simply downgrading as an organization and maybe the conditions aren't as, the players thought they would be?
Well, for a lot of these guys, where else are you going to go?
It's new management and ownership as well, though, in Astralis, right? Like they essentially sold off to a while ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like just
it was late last year, right?
Yeah. Like there was like a whole bunch of financial issues, bankruptcy claims, or things going bad, and then change of ownership. So I think it's probably there's an element of that, and obviously trying to rebound the financials, and probably don't have a whole lot of cash to splash around for bigger names. And I imagine you give a lot of control over to Hooksy in this situation. You brought him in for a reason, and you let him kind of build a team and pick some players that you want. And yeah, I think you didn't really have a whole wealth of good places to go to get some big names. But I kind of like what they have. I don't mind what they've put together. I think Fozzy's cool enough to see what's going to be coming next.
It doesn't move the needle to be exciting, though. Like, I agree with your sentiment there, Jason. Like, okay, yeah, they made this change. It's like, yeah, all right. Like, let's see what happens. Yeah. But it doesn't move the needle for anyone to go, oh, shit, like, this now puts Astralis in the conversation.
Yeah,
right? That doesn't happen for almost any of these roster changes. Like, Aurora losing Jota, I would love to know why Jota didn't want to be on the team anymore. I'd love to know that, right? Because he went from Sangal to this because he showed good form in Sangal. And then I liked him. I really I can't say enough how much I enjoyed watching Wakadia and Jota for their positions. So they bring in Soulfly. We'll have to see what he has to offer. I wonder if Jota knew that Anubis was coming back in, if he would have stayed. That would have been interesting if that came before he made his choice. But he's open to offers from other teams, but now he's probably going to sit at least the first couple of months out until we get to that mid-season point where teams look to gear up and change rosters if things aren't working. Senzu's also got out there looking for offers. He said he's
send Jota to BC.Game. Send Jota to BC.Game. Then we're cooking.
Yeah,
get him
but
over
Jason,
there.
They need to get a couple games in.
I know. Get a couple games with a core. Send Jota over there. Let's just start it out early. Let's just kind of figure that one out now.
And what about Senzu too?
I'm into Senzu as well. Then now we're cooking with gas, Chad. Now we've got something going.
Yeah.
But then we could have just built this team from scrap.
No, Jason. Nobody other than Graham wants to start at the bottom. All right.
Fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, Chad, you were talking about David Letterman, whatever, Mongolia. Talk show with Senzu.
Did I miss something?
Do they have like a 60 minutes crew as well that could do a piece on what the hell happened between Senzu and the Mongols, man? That's
Well, they're still hanging out. They're still friendly.
I just kind of need to know, Chad. You know,
it is.
I want to know because
he might be an opera now as well.
Yeah, he should join BC.Game, and him and Simple can share both be hybrids.
Dude, if he went to BC.Game and coosted Simple, that'd be fucking awesome.
Jason's still looking
just
revenge for his boy.
I'm the opera now, motherfucker.
Oh my god.
What
There was
else?
NIP with this Can guy. Am I pronouncing that correctly, Jason? How were we saying it? Kairne. Karen. He was part of that Inner Circle team that we saw at EPL. He's the guy who smashed his mouse.
You guys, I heard, Yanko, you said something about Madden joining Fnatic, right? Did you guys do the big move? Blame F and Faven? Blame F going to big is the big one?
I didn't. I don't understand that choice from Blame F.
Yeah.
I don't understand that. Yeah, I don't either.
Like, because he worked up, Fnatic was starting to work into a position where it's like, oh, you might start getting some invites now, and now he's gone to fucking...
And like I feel like Madden coming into that team would be awesome for him, like someone who likes being aggressive and doing the dirty work and giving him even more freedom to kind of chill and play towards the later stage of the rounds.
Well, that's the thing though. Madden replaces Blame. They still have Fear, Jambo, and Jacasmo with Crims. So like, if you were saying they replaced
that Fnatic roster took a weird turn. I didn't expect them to just slowly become Passion UA, right? So I don't know if maybe for Blame there was some disagreements on the approach to the game or anything like that prompted them to want to change the scenery, right? But it's weird to see him going to big. Like him and Zyphon, which is funny because they're both Danish, are like two of the players that I just feel like should be on better teams.
Yeah. There's also
a lot more to offer.
It's also weird with like the big, because we heard so many times that they like this whole German angle. It's like they still have Tabs in there, but now Blame F joins the team. JDC's there. Faven's back, right? Like Faven, it feels like Faven has been around forever. He's only 25, and then they have Grix, who was the Belarusian, who didn't work out on Heroic. He was only there for a short time, and he's the AWPer. Like, but he's been there for a little while now. So it's like. It's turned into a mutant again, right? Like it's a bit of everything again. So we Big have become that team that we don't talk about because there's nothing to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised that they were able to land Blame. And it's also surprising now that I mentioned Blame.
Maybe that tells you how much he was or wasn't getting paid in Fnatic, Yanko.
Yeah, that 100 Thieves didn't think of either of them perhaps to reach out for their lineup.
Yeah,
well,
when they were
maybe
building
Deva has the experience of playing with Blame. Maybe he just felt like it wasn't going to be a good fit or something. I don't know.
All right, so you're saying he hates his ass, Jason, right? Some bad blood.
No, but maybe I imagine there's some insight there that they would have said, "Hey, man, what's it like playing with Blame F and work with Blame F?" And Maybe it's just not somewhere they wanted to go. I don't have Blame F is one of those weird ones where he has like a certain element, Blame F, like
he's in the Degster category.
Yeah, that's the name I was looking for. Like he has that same thing where I'm like, I feel like you could probably do a lot of things to point out and criticize some of the game and play and some of the decision making, but the dude still just finds a way to fucking have impact. So on some level, I'm kind of like, at the end of the day, you know, I don't always agree with those two players and the way they play Counter-Strike, but I can't deny the fact that both of them are fucking awesome and just put kills on the board.
This is where Chad, if he actually had the info, would say something like, well, Jason, you just have to read between the lines, don't you? Right? Like, what could it mean that he has?
You hear things when you talk to players.
Yeah.
You know, you hear things when you talk to players. So, but I don't know. I didn't play with these guys. I just watched them play. There's a reason that elite level players are not on elite teams.
Yeah, fair enough.
Right?
Yeah. There's a lot of like these ones that, you know, like, you know, Tylo have added Zero, Cool, VSM and Pyria in Pain. Yeah,
we didn't do FlyQuest.
We didn't do it.
The FlyQuest one's pretty cool, I think.
For most
it's
people,
really
they think it's a side grade, if not a downgrade, Jason. So tell me why.
I think I guess it just all depends on the kind of thoughts you have on story. I would say it's either a side grade or an upgrade. I wouldn't say it's a downgrade. I think story's a pretty sharp opper. And I've seen some really good games out of him, and he's another one of those oppers that can get into the flow state really quickly. Young and talented as well. So I mean, I think it's actually a really cool pickup. But I mean, I was also I feel like one of the few people who was in the camp that was pretty excited to see FlyQuest at the major, because I thought I saw good things at the Bucharest event for PGL right before the major.
Yes.
And it turned those positives I saw there turned out to not all be apparent in Budapest, but I think you still saw some steps in the right direction. So I'm just excited to see what a new opper. I'll be honest with you, like it's not a criticism. I think the Regali move with him as the opper in FlyQuest always made me kind of scratch my head. I never really got the sense that fit. You know, watching them play, it felt like they just weren't on the same page. Not a criticism on him or on the team at all. I just never felt like he actually looked comfortable within the squad. So I think them going in, finding someone else to give it a shot to, I think that's really cool. And I thought Story's an interesting one.
I don't know.
I'm not in a position to talk, Yanko, so you go.
I don't think it's such a clear and obvious upgrade where the move is made simply for Counter-Strike. Well, I don't want to say Counter-Strike reasons because they're all, you know, that's what implied. There's personal issues, but perhaps that there's just like it wasn't a great fit. Like they had different views perhaps moving forward, or I mean, if he did have an offer from someone else, that would have been official by now, I feel like. And we would have known about it. So it's more like they wanted to replace him rather than, you know, oh, this guy is such an upgrade, we have to pounce. It's like, we're not happy with Regali, we need to get someone else. And then they got Story, which is, I feel like, if that's the case, it's all right. Like, I don't think it's a downgrade. I think it's more of a side grade in a way, but it's just weird with all these oppers, man. I mean, even the thing with Bait and Hat Trick is like, he's not benched, but he's not guaranteed a spot either. Is like they're trying out other oppers or whatever. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, there's some weird shit going on at the moment. Like, I don't know what this news today about Aragorn is. Do you see this with Heroic?
Yeah, the visa stuff.
Was it visa?
It said, yeah, because of visa issues, they're playing
due to unforeseen visa issues.
Oh, okay. It does. So that literally in the first sentence. Okay, well. But wait.
Fucking headline reader.
It's online.
I know, but if he's in Kazakhstan, maybe they're all boot camping, and then if he didn't get a visa for the boot camp, he wouldn't been able to go to Malta either, right? Because they have a place in Denmark, I guess.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, fair enough. So Youngster's back again because they need to retain the core with Nilo, X-Cloud, and Youngster, right? So, yeah, that's another one of these situations that's a little bit all over the place.
It's been day one of tournament one, like, and there's already a stand-in situation. It's like,
oh dear.
What about Ston, man? Ston's available.
Yeah, that's true.
Back.
He put himself on the market. Oh, there you go, Jason. Stown, Senzu, and Jota joined BC.Game.
Now I'm in. Sign
But
me
they
up,
have to
Chad.
go one by one, right?
Who do you want first,
they
Jason?
retain the core.
I'd coach that team. I'd coach that fucking team.
You can't. Taz is there. I wanted Taz on the desk
I could
for
slot in.
Krakow,
Nobody
bro.
would notice a difference. Yeah, that would have been cool.
Why is he going to take it? You could have come on the desk. Could have been there with Yanko. Could have been having a good time.
He loves
Come on,
me.
Taz.
Maybe the punishment turns him on.
Maybe. Yeah, but this is where, like, and I know you said it before, Yanko, you know, like, before he got painted with, like, the vibes coach brush, and now or was it you, Jace? Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Either way, that is going to be the main part of that job, is keeping everybody friendly.
It's so funny. It's like now we're all going to be praising him for being a vibes guy.
Yeah, it's like, man, he's doing such a good job keeping everybody
He's going to be
smiling.
sitting behind there. He's like, what the fuck is wrong with this community?
Oh, poor Taz, man.
Honestly, if it works, I'm just going to go ham on the vibes angle. If they start winning, I'm just going to be like, oh, fucking Taz, bro. You really needed some of the vibes. But look, like, taking the joking aside, taking the joking aside, if there is, I mean, ironically, if there is someone who I think you could like make like an argument of their history in the game of Counter-Strike makes perfect sense for them to coach this team, it would be Taz. Because I don't think everyone realizes, like, especially some newer people in the scene, those like Taz and Neo, when they started playing together in Poland, like they fucking hated each other. They were rivals for the biggest time into that.
True.
And those Polish teams always had huge internal battles. Like we obviously know and have fun with the Mercedes thing and the whole explosion of the Polish VP lineup back in like 2017 and how that went south and all that shit was publicized. But those Polish lineups over the years always had those like big internal fights, which is why when you heard all those interviews back in the day of them talking about being a family, it's because they were a family for the good and the bad. They had the fucking blow-ups and they despised each other, but sometimes felt like they couldn't go anywhere else. So then you had to just have the fights and get over it. So there is an element of Taz is like uniquely geared to be a good vibes coach for this team. But yeah, I mean, it's just funny to me the way that's all worked out with his reputation in G2.
I guess there's a couple of other little ones here, like Snacks back to Gamer Legion and ZTR out. So it's still Rez, Torsen, PR, and Hypex. So it seems weird. Like, I don't know. That's another side grade, right? That's the one. Here's one that is, in my opinion, an upgrade, and I'm super excited to see. Well, hold up. Maybe not super excited.
Super excited is strong.
I'm keeping both eyes on. Not just one eye, both eyes.
Both of them.
Paravision with Zwei in for AW. Because I really liked what I saw from this Exelio guy. Belchnok, I think, was pretty solid, right? So I'm excited to see what the addition of Zwei to that does. And now he's going to be in an environment where the pressure's not going to be so high. He might actually get some resources within the team. So I'm really excited to see if Zwei can get a bit of a bounce back, because it's not like people said he was fucking horrible on Spirit. He wasn't horrible. He just didn't bring what they needed. So on Paravision, especially now because they are in a decent spot within the VRS, right? They are 17th. They're in good amount of invite range. It'd be nice if they were a little bit higher, but if they have some good results in these early couple of events, that's great. And that's what, when I was talking to Dustin at the major, that was their main thing. It's like, yeah, if we're able to get back into the big events, that's where they can start really doing some work. So that's probably one of my more favorite moves of the
cool.
off season.
That one's really cool, especially because Paravision was fun to watch at the major. They showed some cool things. Yeah, that one's interesting. I was going to bring up, I mean, this isn't a huge one. This is more for the NA side of things. The Stanislaw Fang joining Boss, and I just got to watch them over this weekend as well.
That literally just happened though, didn't it?
Yep. There was the roster changes in NA all kind of happened, and none of them have really had time to practice yet. But yeah, this was recent. I talked to Stan before the event began, and I could tell he had like an edge to him. Just being frustrated watching all of his teammates at Wildcard, like some of these guys going to like bigger name teams and getting their chance to go on to like a bigger franchise and a squad that has some star players, and Stan's kind of left in the dust to rebuild once again. So you could tell he's kind of got a chip on his shoulder.
He was even advertising as coaching, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was any opportunity really, I think he was going for. So I don't know how those conversations went or where they went. But you saw from just watching Boss, they're not gonna escalate into like an international stage overnight. But Stan can obviously do some good work within the region to raise the floor of that team. So they could be fun to watch, within the Americas region throughout the year. Yeah.
There's like LNZ to MIBR.
I mean, these are all. You see
Fl0m
How
Yeah,
are they
go.
ripping? Yeah, they finally have a chance to not be a 0-3 pick for me. All of these are like, we're just ripping through them, right? Because it's like, you don't think a change
don't
has
move the
been-
needle.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah, yeah.
right? So it's like,
Yeah.
okay, now you got, instead of just a translator for MIBR, you got a guy who can potentially in-game lead, but then Venom Zera, how does he fit into all of that? It's still like, you know, if you're Insani, I think you're slowly wilting away, man, in a way as well.
How
Right,
long is his
because there's-
contract for?
Forever,
Yeah.
maybe. I
He's
don't
got a
know,
lifetime MIBR sentence.
but that's the thing. It's like that would be really smart for him to just, even though, you know how it is, Chad, right? Like the first contract, he came from the academy team. So his first
Yeah.
contract, even if he wasn't on the academy contract, it's not going to be that high. And then after year one, when you first start getting calls, they give him like a nice little upgrade, but put like 3 or
Keep him
4 years
sweet,
on the
yeah.
contract, right? So then, yeah, now because at the time,
He's
this
only
is
21
amazing.
though.
I was just, you know, on the academy team, blah, 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 blah. But now you're maybe halfway through that deal or whatever. Let's say this could be the last year or something like that. But it's been a while now where you just feel like you've stagnated. You don't want to re-sign for more because you want an opportunity to go somewhere else potentially.
He was moved up to the main MIBR lineup in January 2023, almost exactly 3 years ago.
Okay.
So-
is there anything about him re-signing or anything like that?
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen any word about his contract. This would be a 3-year contract, which isn't unusual. But I know
So it'd be
the
like
other,
They
They
Yeah,
forget
the other
he was on the
Brazilians-
academy team, so they don't need to give him
Yeah.
a new contract. They just upgrade him to the main team. Like I don't imagine they had to. They probably did so after the first couple of tournaments, just because, you know.
That's the right thing to do.
Well, that'd be
then
the question.
added
If he
a lot of
renegotiated
time.
his contract, if he renegotiated to have like a
Exactly,
main
that's
team
the point.
contract, then that could be another like 3 or 4. Yeah, who knows? I remember those Furia guys signed the 5-year contract. So Brazil, with the way that works down there, they really want to lock guys in to have that buyout clause.
But like for him, the obvious one would be going to Payne, but Payne have just made a couple of changes, right? They've gone full Brazilian now. They brought in VSM and they brought in Period Junior. We've seen both of those players in patches before. So
If you're Insani, wouldn't you think the right play? He speaks great English? Like, if you're Insani, aren't you thinking I want to test if there's any market in the international teams?
for sure, but I think you got to get to the point where your contract's expired first, right? And anyway,
Yeah.
internationals coming to him at the moment too, so he is getting more and more practice speaking English. So if anything, yeah, if he's got a head on him, he's probably thinking to himself, I can use this all as you just need to make sure you're not doing what
Right
Yanko
out.
said, which is mentally like becoming detached from reality and just thinking I'm wasting my time. You've just got to keep building and trying to
Grinding and keep
all
your head
those
down and keep
cliches
pushing,
and
yeah.
tropes and all that bullshit. Yeah, so it's not a fun time for him. But yeah, we are kind of just like throwing around these roster name changes, and it's so small. Like OG, they made a couple changes. You know, there's nothing here. Like Tyloo brought in Zero, they replaced Attacker. That's kind of one because Attacker was a bit of from the older Chinese generation, or like he was one of the newer guys when I was playing against them. But yeah,
And
not
for-
anymore.
For Cadian, probably also his last opportunity kind of to prove himself, considering how
Yeah.
the Astralis and the Liquid stint went. And you feel like on one side, it's good that he has mostly a young team around him.
There's some
Like,
good pieces in that
No
team.
one's going to second guess him or anything. He can have it his own way. But on the other side of things, there's going to be online CS and grinding, which he hasn't had to do for a while. So is the motivation still there to do that? We'll have to guess.
I
wait
filmed
and
some
see.
DHL stuff and I spoke to him there. It seems like it is, and I think he likes the obviously he'd prefer to play in a better team. Everybody would, but it's a good opportunity to work back into things. And there are some fun pieces on that team. So yeah,
There are some fun pieces, but I wonder how those pieces are going to respond to Cadian. You know what I mean? Like with his kind of personality, attitude, the energy he brings into being a leader.
but that's it.
I'm
None of them
interested
have
to see-
achieved anything on that team though.
Yeah, but he's an
So there
intense
should be
guy.
no egos there.
But it's not egos. He's just an intense in the way he approaches like being part of a team. Like all of his speeches, all the way like in practice, he's pretty hardcore. We obviously we've heard some of the stories from when he was with Liquid as well. Like they're, you know. Some of these young players like that, they don't like that kind of like level of confrontation that Katie and I think is going to bring to the table. So and I'm not like saying it one way or the other, positive, negative, which way's better, which way's not. But like I think those guys are going to have like kind of an eye-opening experience of having to have an in-game leader. They probably never played with a guy like Cadian. Let's put it that way.
I guess I'd start thinking, what's the must achieve or the goal? I guess the goal would be qualifying for the major, right?
Yes.
That would be it, just being a stage 1 team. I say just, but they're 50th right now, so they have a long way to go.
Yeah. Yeah, your goal is like is making it to the major, but I think at some point you're not even really setting that goal like officially. Your goal is kind of like just win the games at the events in front of you at the moment and see the major can be a goal if you get closer. If you're getting closer to attain it, you can make that the big picture.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if we got anything else really to go with here. I think the other stuff is obviously Anubis.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is like, have we touched on Train and Anubis at all? That Train leaving is weird, but we were talking a lot about it in Vegas with Fl0m, and I mean, he made a good point. We all know the point, even if we don't always like to admit it. That's just it's a hard map for casuals, and I think it was the least played map in like casual Premier. Yeah, like
I think it was. Let me find it.
Like that, Train is like a hard map if you're like a casual player to solo queue in matchmaking.
So this is Leadify data. Scrawny retweeted this. Is from Leadify. It says Leadify data from 41,317,145 Premier CS2 matches. Let me say that again. 41,317. No, that is right. This is a weird number to say. And 145 is where I should have put that. Premier CS2 matches from all regions in 2025. Mirage 24%, Dust 2 20%, Inferno 15%, Ancient 13%, Nuke 12.2%, Anubis 5.2%, Overpass 5.1%, Train 4.2%, and Vertigo 0.5%. Obviously, Vertigo went out at the start, so we don't even count that. But Anubis isn't high up there, and Overpass also isn't. And I think the thing is, if it wasn't played by the people at home, then that's a huge value point for Valve. Probably bigger than the pro scene, right? It's like they gave it a go, it didn't work, it didn't take off. As much as we saw progressions in the tier 1 scene or just general professional Counter-Strike play, obviously it didn't move the needle enough to maintain its spot. So maybe it goes through another rework, maybe it comes back. But I also am happy to see that Overpass isn't getting a lot of play either. Fuck that map. For me, it's about what changes to expect on Anubis once the update comes through. So they've said on the 19th is when the Premier season will come to a close. So I would imagine on the 20th or maybe the 21st, something like that,
do you
that the
expect
update
changes?
comes out. Yeah, I do.
Okay. What kind?
I don't expect changes, but I mean, I can obviously see it. I think it'd be smart if they did. I think more than anything, this to me says cash is coming after the next major.
I think the same.
If you're taking Train out after one season and putting Anubis back in, especially if you don't change it, you're just using it as a placeholder until cash is ready, right? Like that's the sense I get.
Let me find something.
Right, you're just using it in the meantime to you've seen it already play. It wasn't super popular, but it plays okay.
I don't think you replace. You think they replace Anubis with cash?
Anubis or Overpass, I guess it would be considering the play, but yeah, I do. I would.
Interesting. I don't know if they would would you continue? Maybe.
I think. I guess if you change Anubis, when this next update comes in, then maybe it has a chance of staying. But I think if it doesn't get any updates, then it's just a placeholder.
All right. Well, look at WhatsApp.
Yeah, I see it. I think it's also maybe a sign of that. Maybe these 3-4 maps will rotate every season. I mean,
the same maps.
Well, yeah.
That's interesting.
Like maybe they're not, because of what you said with the playability. Are they really going to touch Mirage? Are they really going to touch some of these other maps? And when? And the frequency is a bit surprising of the changes to the active duty map pool.
I like it though. I like the frequency.
I feel like they've set a precedent now. Right? They've set a precedent now. Now, that's Valve. They never have to.
I was going to say, let's not act like the precedent means it. Yeah.
But, right, I think there's an expectation there. And if they have, I think, Yanko, your conclusion there is still probably bang on. Like, if it means, okay, well, we take Train back to the lab now and we work on it for 2026, maybe it comes back in 2027. I agree with your point, Jason. It has to be cash after the next major. I would, if I bet, that's what I'd bet on. Right, like if I was on Polymarket and there was something about is cash coming back this year? That's based off of I don't have any fact, but
it might be there. Might be there, Shad. We don't know.
I'm just saying that that you've had it for this long, you bought it from FM Pwn for this period of time. It's clearly not ready yet. Otherwise, they would have added it. But given another 6 months, you hope it's ready because it might become one of those maps that then can supersede the next weakest. So maybe, you know, it comes in for Anubis or Overpass initially, but then next time we go, okay, well, hold up a second. Inferno is actually pretty boring. Like, let's get that out, right? Or, you know, and then Cash doesn't become one of the revolving door. It gets to stay alongside of a Mirage or something because it's a bit more of a mainstay.
Yeah, I mean, if it steals like some of the playership from some of these other maps, right? It depends on like maybe Overpass Craters when Cash comes in. Maybe it takes like 4% from Mirage and 3% from Dust 2. You know, then you get a whole new slew of maps and see what people like playing and what they don't.
Yeah. I mean, look.
Yeah.
I think that Anubis has to have some changes. I made a tweet after the major, I think as I was on the way home on the plane anyway, because I saw something on Twitter or Reddit, I don't know which one it was, and someone was like, oh, the Anubis collection got removed. So from that, I took that as my signal thinking it was going to be Anubis. I tweeted, if the murmurs of plus Anubis are true, I have a decent level of interest to see it re-enter the map pool. You would hope it has had some tweaks to the overall layout to mitigate the issues the CT side would experience, which forced them to gamble or go aggressive. But I think what likely isn't being considered is the buff to the CT economy of plus 50 per kill that came in at the same time as Anubis was removed by Overpass. This plus potential changes could help the map find a sweet spot with it, you know. So I think that there needs to be certain areas of the map that have a tweak. Like, I think you can take middle way too easy on the T side. So I feel like something needs to change their 2 mollies and you essentially have control. Plus the length of the incendiary versus the molly means you can't play like molly on molly defense. It's kind of man on man, like in basketball, guys. So I'm keen to see it back in. And I liked playing it in pugs. So I know that doesn't mean anything, but it was fun.
I think it was really fun to watch. I think the pros obviously hated playing it for all those reasons you mentioned. It forces too many gamble decisions, awkward to like both bomb sites are really difficult and difficult to anchor down A and B. So anchors kind of have a nightmare. But I think it created some fun Counter-Strike. I think we had some really cool games on it.
Yeah. We got anything else in the chamber, boys?
What's happening?
We've obviously missed some stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
I think
go on.
the Discord members can remind us, and we can touch on it the next episode.
The next episode?
Yeah, we'll do it next week. There's a couple days off between Blast Bounty's online portion and the LAN portion. The LAN portion starts on the 22nd. So the 22nd is when?
Thursday next week.
Okay, so we could do Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. I'm going to try and co-stream some of the Blast Bounty games maybe on the weekend. I have to reach out and ask. So they might say no to me. That's very likely. But I'm going to reach out and ask and then maybe try and do some on the weekend and then next weekend before Krakow. That's my plan. And then, we'll do another episode, bring up some more stuff, and hopefully Huz has been unbanned by then. We have to get into all those things that we mentioned. So, Jason, I can assist with some of the things, like I don't know how to make the channels and shit, but I can set the criteria and stuff. I'll work on it.
Cool. Yeah, I'd say the biggest help you can do is kind of organize your thoughts a little bit on a piece of paper.
Fuck, that's the hard part.
I know.
That's the hard part right there.
That's the shitty part. All right. Cool.
Goodbye, everybody.
Well, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.